All right.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
Dude, I am goddamn tired.
Yeah, I know. You're always tired.
I'm
when
always
you come here,
tired.
though. It's early and you're tired.
I know. Well, it's because I was driving all goddamn day. But
All day, 2.5 hours from Nashville?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's 5, so it was most of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
I'm excited about tonight.
I am excited about tonight as well.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
We've got our guests are another podcast.
They are another podcast.
Our first international episode.
A first international podcast episode.
Oh, that's right. We had
Christian from
Christian.
Sweden.
He doesn't count. He was too beautiful to count.
Good looking man.
Just an angel. Just an angel of a man.
He was.
So tonight we are drinking an assortment. I have a grab bag that I put together for us. And
we'll draw out in a minute whenever we bring the guests up onto the stream.
Yep.
Because one of them is drinking as well.
Yep. So the housekeeping bullshit.
First,
let's blast through this. I'm not
CQ, Pop Culture Warrior. He's going to be on with us within the next month or so.
Yep.
Two Brothers podcast. Troy and Trevor. They broadcast Saturday mornings. And then Trevor has his own podcast multiple times during the week.
Yep.
Redneck News Entertainment and the Redneck Review podcast. The Andy Harris on Twitter. We got t-shirts, we got stickers, b3fpodcast.com for all of our links, and then you can rate and review each of us individually and the show completely anonymously.
And we love the hate mail.
Yes, we do.
It's my favorite.
So please, b3fpodcast.com.
All
now,
right.
Who's our guest tonight?
So our guest tonight is a couple of gentlemen from South London. Their podcast is called the Juxtaposition Debate, which is a fucking mouthful, to say the least. I was going to say a handful, but that's that'd be dirtier than I meant for it to be. But I bet they are a handful.
Yeah. So we have, I'm sure. So we have Easy and Andre from the Juxtaposition Debate
and
podcast.
I've been excited about this episode.
Yes, because they're similar to ours as far as the format of their show.
Yep.
And I think you guys like to disagree. And we do too.
Yeah, yeah, and you guys have both been friends for like fucking forever, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think how many years? We're 20...
About 23-ish.
23 of those miserable years of my
24,
life.
Actually, no, 20, getting close to 24. Jesus. Yeah.
So how long have you guys known each other?
Got to be 30-something years.
Oh, Jesus.
If not, yeah. No, more than that.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
Oh, so you guys go way back.
Yeah, since about 12, 14, 12,
yeah,
13?
From early school days. Early school days.
Oh,
early school days, yeah.
Yeah, we were high school sweethearts.
We were high school, yeah.
All right, let's
we dropped out as much for a little while.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so Andre's drinking good old Jack Daniels tonight.
Yep.
And
what can I tell you? Just to be sociable. Just to be sociable.
All right, here you go, buddy. The first one in the grab bag of garbage.
Oh, I don't like the shape of this bottle.
Grab bag.
What'd you get?
Tanqueray.
Oh, that's
not bad.
You got too bad.
Tanqueray London Dry Gin.
Oh, I got Calypso spiced rum. This was like 90 cents, so I'm pretty sure it is not good rum.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I brought the tonic and lime in here.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna mix it?
I'll take a sip of it straight, but I mean.
All right. Well, hey, cheers to you guys. We're glad to have you on.
Yeah, likewise.
And here's
cheers, guys.
Here's to an absolutely terrible episode.
That's not that bad.
Oh, that is bad.
Good.
Those are the two best things in this bag.
Are they?
Yeah.
All right.
So.
All right. So, Juxtaposition Debate. Give us
a grow bag, for real.
Yeah. Give us a little bit. What is Juxtaposition Debate?
Andre?
Okay. Juxtaposition Debate. It was set up originally for radio. So I got a request to be on a radio station. I didn't want to do any DJing. So I said, okay, I'll do that, but it'll be a chat show of some sort. They then got another chat show, so we said, okay, we're going to switch it up a little bit. It's not going to be chat, it's going to be debate. I then got in touch with Easy. He was all up for it, didn't ask much questions, just said yes. And that's how it all started. So we pick a topic. There's no sitting on the fence. Either Easy will be for or against. And then we just have to convince all the listeners, and we get quite a few people who text in and a few callers as well, and we've just got to convince them that
One of
the
us
way
is right.
we're saying is right. Yeah. So it can get pretty intense, but amongst it all is banter. So we say it's the sort of discussion you can get in any barbershop, any black barbershop in and around London. So it's heavy on discussion, it's heavy on banter, and that's the.
Do you guys know what banter is?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Isn't that the guy who played the Hulk in a movie, right?
Bruce Banter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Eric. I think it was Eric Banter. It was Eric Banter.
Yeah. Oh, you one of those shows.
Bruce Banter.
As soon as I saw the name, I was like, well, fuck, they have juxtaposition in the name. I was like, well, god damn it, they're smarter than us. So whatever.
That'd be cool. I had a lot of people said we should just call it Let's Talk, Can We Talk, Pillow Talk, Real Talk, all these sort of things. But we wanted something that's going to be a little bit memorable.
No, it's good.
But they also told us, juxtaposition, people aren't going to be able to pronounce it.
No, it's great.
It's going pretty well.
No, well, it stands out. I mean, because there's all kinds of podcasts with the.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a big podcast guy, but when I've scrolled through some stuff, finding guests or talking to people, there are some of the fucking dumbest podcast names I've ever heard of in my entire life. It's almost like band names, right? It's like you get somebody that's they just throw some shit out there and it sticks. But it's
right.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Well,
I think we argued for like 6 months before we came up with B3F.
I don't know.
Can you remind me what B3F stands for?
All right.
Yeah.
So it started out, and this was Steven's idea for the name. The name was Steven's idea. It started out as BFFF podcast, and that doesn't roll off the tongue quite like B3F does. But BFFF stands for, and here's why you guys are smarter than us.
Best fucking friends forever.
That's right.
I was right. Yeah, best fucking friends forever. Yeah.
Okay.
But really, for us, we didn't live in the same. The same state for years and years and years.
Yeah, once we graduated high school, we were both kind of just stayed in touch.
And then when I moved here to Knoxville, it was just kind of an excuse for us to hang out on the wheels. Like, hey, we can fucking hang out and just bullshit for whatever. And then it kind of has grown. I mean, not to epic levels by any means, but it's it's doing a hell of a lot. I didn't figure we'd have as many listeners as we do at this point.
It is what it is.
I don't know why people listen to this podcast.
Yeah. So
I mean. Andre and myself are 500 miles apart as we speak now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Andre's in London, or just outside of London, and I'm up in Edinburgh, up in Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I made the mistake. Go ahead, man. Sorry.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, every show we end up thanking the listeners and the people who call and text in. Just for doing that, just for spending a couple of hours of their life listening to us talk and just rabbit on about whatever. So again, So we kind of find it still hard to believe that people tune in every week.
Yeah,
just to listen to us.
The police tune into us.
Really? I would understand why. The
police, a judge, a magistrate. A vicar.
Yeah. We've got some people that I wouldn't have expected to listen to us who actually do. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Now we get the same. Like we've had a few people like, well, I don't even understand why. Like,
right?
Because we started out, we had a little bit of a format, and then that just kind of completely went.
Well, we would come to the table with a topic to just talk about, even if we agreed on it, we just to talk about it, and then we started. Having some local business owners as guests and things like that, and then we learned that we're not bad at interviewing people, but we're not great at it, but we're very good at getting them to talk about things that they wouldn't ordinarily talk about. Like we had a local hockey player, a goalie on, and at the end of the show, he was like, "This was great because I expected to talk about hockey all night, and we only did that half the time, and that was enjoyable." And then we had one of the guys from Forged in Fire, one of the judges from Forged in Fire on. And
if you guys haven't seen it, it's an American blacksmithing competition show.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I know of it.
Yeah, we've had a couple of the guys from there on, weirdly enough, and I'm still amazed that they agreed to come on. But
right. Well, but they both were like, I really, I kind of thought we would talk about knives and knife making all night long. But we didn't. We really just started talking about anything.
But the thing is we don't know shit about knives, so it was a good thing that we didn't fucking try to talk about knives.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, our dream is to one day to be an advice podcast where people call in and want our opinions on how to make their lives better, and then we can in turn ruin them.
Right. Yeah.
Sabotage.
So, is there one particular topic that you guys have talked about that really stands out? Maybe it got more heated than normal, or is it all? I mean, does anything stand out as far as that goes?
There's a few. I think there's a few.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple. There was a couple where there are some female listeners who actually set up a GoFundMe page so they could hire an assassin to come after Andre.
Please.
All right, I have a new goal.
We did one recently. Was it last week or no? A couple of weeks ago. Can a single mother raise a boy to be a man? Now we've got a lot of females that are listening, and I'm assuming quite a few of them are either single mothers or at some time were, because they weren't too pleased with me basically saying that no, a single woman cannot raise a boy to be a man. Right. She can raise a boy and he can grow up to be a lovely person and he can grow up to be a fine man, but she cannot teach him the nuances of being a man. A lot of women took offense to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Including a listener from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes. Do you remember? Wasn't the one?
I don't know. I know we had some people from America, but I can't remember the actual place.
Wasn't it Tennessee?
I can't remember.
If that's
Who's
the
one? Yes. Who's the one who she took one of the boys and the husband took the other boy? Is that not Tennessee?
That could be. That could well be.
Yeah.
But we digress. But yeah, I think you could be right. It was US.
Interesting.
US.
So anyone that's listening to this from the Knoxville area, if you know this person, please get them in touch with us. I would like to speak to them.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, I think it was US.
When you guys pick a topic, do you decide ahead of time which side you're going to be on? Is it roll the dice or draw out of a hat or whatever? Or how does that work?
Normally, no, I would say, maybe you would disagree with this, Easy. We could have a debate right here. But normally, I think I normally go for the controversial view.
Okay.
Always. Yep, you do. Yeah,
the view that I think is less appealing to the listeners. So I think as a result, I'm probably
argumentative.
Yeah, well, no, I won't go that far.
Obtuse. Obtuse. Ignorant. Belligerent.
Well, a few of my listeners might think so, but no. But I do.
They think way worse than me.
He's the good cop. I'm the bad cop. Let's just leave it like that, shall we?
Okay.
So do you take that? Do you take that side even if you don't agree with that side?
Well, yeah, because it's a debate. So
sure.
Yeah. So, for instance, can a single mother raise a boy to be a man? I mean, there's good arguments that she bloody well can. But my job on that day was to at least get people to think, can they? And I believe I did that because some people weren't too pleased. A lot of people rang in.
The phone was on fire.
That's awesome.
The phone was on fire.
You know what I mean? When I take that position, my job is to make people believe, or at least at the very last doubt.
Sure.
Whether or not a woman can raise a boy to be a man. So, and by doing that, you get a lot more people call in.
Yeah.
Even though they might be calling just to say you're talking rubbish or whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a fantastic premise without being like shock value, right? That's the purpose of the show. Right. That's actually a really fucking cool premise. Like we get hate mail because people just don't like the way we run our mouths.
That's it. We get a lot of people just say, most of the time people just say, do you have to cuss so much?
Yeah.
That's what people say to us.
Well, it's mostly towards me.
Is it?
I have the worst mouth. Like it just pours out of me like water.
I think you got a pretty good mouth.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I got a strong jaw. But
get a room, guys. Get a room.
What do you think? What do you think we stepped outside for before we broadcast?
Loosen up a little bit.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. But it's funny because people are like, "Why do you guys use so much profanity?" I'm like, this is how we fucking talk when we're outside.
That's it,
like how we talk on the mics is no different than
Right.
our other conversation.
You're
And
right,
I
yeah.
was military for like 9 years, and so part of it comes from that, and part of it comes. I use it loosely, like by the technical term.
Sure.
God damn it,
Yeah.
fuck you, man. Most of our debates come from
But I
just
hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, but I hear that though, because that's the same thing. We try not to have any sort of image when we're on the station when we're broadcasting. So it's not like we want to be cool. A lot of DJs and stuff like that, if they're on, they got an image that they need to maintain. But I guess with us, what we're doing, we can be ourselves. We can be rude.
Say what we want. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
So
Yeah,
we
because
want- say,
and
yeah.
I usually end up sounding like the idiot because I get fired up, and when we start arguing and shit like that, and I ended up like trying to reword what I'm trying to say, and it ends up being like back. It's fucking terrible. I get so mad.
But there's times that both of us have had to take. There's both of us that we've been times that we've been arguing, and we've both had to take a side that we didn't agree with. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I think about the whole Dave Chappelle contract thing. Like,
Yeah.
you and I completely agree on that, but I had to take the side of Dave Chappelle on that one, and it's like, shit.
I still don't think you really took that truly. I still think you were on his side a little bit.
Okay. No. Here's where you and I differ. I'm not bothered by him doing that, and you are.
Yeah. I'm not bothered by it. I just think it was a dick move.
You sounded like your pussy was hurt.
What exactly were we talking about here with Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, what did he do?
So he did at a show or something. He did a short rant about how when he signed his contract with Comedy Central years ago to do Chappelle's show,
That's right.
that he was misled and his representation didn't represent him well, and he was given a bad deal, and that yes, he signed the contract, was a bad deal, and he asked his fans to not watch Chappelle's show on Netflix.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Not to watch
yeah.
his show.
To
Yeah,
boycott
this was
it.
back in the last year.
because he wasn't making
Wow.
any money on it, and he felt like that was
Money, that's
not
right, yeah.
right. And our view is, you sign the contract, it's fine for them to do that, but for the in the interest of having a argument about it, I had to take the stance of, well, I think they should redo the contract.
Yeah.
They eventually did redo the contract,
Which is bullshit.
well, I don't think that they had to, but I think that it's good for them.
I don't want to go back into this.
Sure, I just think it's good for Comedy
I get
Central
your
to
fucking
redo
sense.
it.
You've said it. You've said your piece.
But anyway, so
Well, I guess
that's
they
the
were getting
situation.
Bad reviews, so I guess it was in their interest to redo it as well, wasn't it?
I think it was in their interest. I don't think that they were in the wrong. I think it was in their interest to do it, though.
Exactly. If anyone's in the wrong, is his lawyers who
Right.
didn't
advised him to sign the contract.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Who didn't think forward? Didn't think that.
yeah,
Right.
You know,
Well, my argument is
take a Netflix into account.
right. Well,
Yeah.
and because Netflix didn't exist when the Chappelle show came out, and my thought was like, yeah, he was a young kid. He took the contract,
Yeah.
pay his family, whatever. But that fucking show made him. He signed the contract, and then to get to a place of prominence where he is, and then pull the. Oh no, we need to boycott them so I can get what's mine. Like, and especially from a guy that's always talking about accountability and truth in his stand-up comedy and throwing that shit out. Like, it was a dick move, man. It was a power play, and it worked, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and did he walk away? Did he? Go on.
How long was it? How long was this contract for then?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, he ran. Well, technically, too, he broke his contract because he quit the Chappelle show with 2 more
Exactly.
seasons. So he broke their contract.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that part of
Yeah.
the contract was that he wasn't going to make any royalties on it, and that's what bothered him the most about it, because his lawyers or his agents or whoever should have taken that into consideration. Yeah. Obviously, you couldn't take Netflix into consideration, but you could take syndication into consideration. And he was not represented correctly, but he did sign a contract, and that holds up. I mean,
Anyway, I
But,
don't want to
yeah.
rehash this whole fucking thing. Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
This was
Excuse me, Nancy.
this was like a whole hour of an episode.
It was.
Yeah, we had his sister's a lawyer, and she came on and she took my side. Just want to say that. Just throw that out there for the record.
She took our side. She didn't take the side I was having to argue. But yeah, that's fine. I don't care.
Nothing like sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
We had a vicar that took easy side during one of our discussions, but that didn't make it right.
Yeah, that's because. Oh man, don't even. You know what you said. You know what you said. You're talking about Jesus being sacrificed. What was it you said? Rosa Parks. What? Rosa Parks sat at the front of the bus as a sacrifice, and I said it was a choice. You said Muhammad Ali. What? Did what? What was it you said about Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay? What was it you said?
Same thing.
Whatever you said, it was a sacrifice. I said no, it was a choice. And then you opened your mouth and said, Jesus. That's what you opened your mouth and said, Jesus. And you said sacrifice. And that's when the vicar said, enough of this. Enough of this. And that's when we found out we had a vicar listening to the show. Man, she ripped into Andre quick. She ripped into him quick, set him straight. Told him what's what, and then promptly left the building. Dropped the mic. Bye.
No, but we've had a few minor run-ins since then.
Where's this we thing again? Where's the we thing?
We as in
No. Here we go again. Bonnie and Clyde. Here we. What happened? Both dead. Magnificent Seven. There was a whole lot of we there. Enough of them dead. Okay, stop with the we.
Okay, well, I had a few run-ins with them.
There you go. That's better.
Thought we were a team.
You keep thinking this thing. You know what? You know what Thought did, didn't you? Thought he farted and he shit himself. Stop with this Thought.
What?
I just assumed being from the UK, it was a royal we. That was my assumption.
No. That's the royal we. Oh, by the way, Andre, you know my man spent some time up in Manchester. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess someone's got. Is it the ghetto?
Yeah,
that's the ghetto side of England, man.
Yeah. Back in the 97.
Steve said spent some time up in Manchester.
Listen to the two of them argue. I feel like I'm watching a Guy Ritchie movie.
The ghetto side.
Yeah, I think Chorley was the name of the town, the little whatever the fuck it was.
Was that Chorley?
What?
Chorley, yeah, Chorley.
I don't know.
Yeah, Chorley Wood. Yeah, Chorley Wood.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a good time. I was just pissed because I couldn't get my tongue in any British girls. Like I was too awkward of a teenager.
How many British guys did you get it in?
Like 7.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh man.
I thought the women they thought they loved the American accent, man. I thought you guys would be.
Yeah, but I was. Yeah, it's 15, and I was not the pussy killer at 15. It was not a good time for me.
Okay, fair enough.
I worked with a guy before I moved up here. My manager, he was from Northern England, and I cannot remember where he was from, but right below the Scottish border. And I made the mistake of calling him Scottish at one point in time. And oh Jesus Christ, you would have thought I fucking kicked the Pope. It was so bad.
Yeah. That's the same up here because I'm actually in Scotland. So if you call them English,
yeah,
boy, they're ready to fight you.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
Ready to fight you. You know.
Yeah, he was like, I am not from Scotland. I was like, well, where are you from? And he told me the town, and I was like, it's basically Scotland.
Steve living on the edge. Live on the edge, mate. Live on the edge.
Yeah.
Oh, I got into an argument at one point in time. I knew a guy. He was from Spain. Like, he was outside of Barcelona or some shit. And I asked him something along the lines of like if his heritage was European Mexican. And that did not go over well at all.
European Mexican.
Yeah, never try to guess, man. Never try to guess.
No, I did it intentionally because like I found out, and I never realized that. Well, kind of like really in any people group, that there's a hierarchy of Hispanic or Latino people. Like in the Spaniards are at the top. And then I think at the very bottom is like Puerto Rico. Like it drops, down. It's a very odd thing. But so I did it.
It's the same thing with Asian cultures as well.
Yeah, like
they rank each other.
Yeah, like Malaysians are way down at the bottom too. It's very strange. But
if you want to piss a set of people off, call New Zealanders Australian.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then watch sparks fly.
Yeah. Or even an Aussie, call him a Kiwi. You fucking Kiwi. They'll get they're pretty unhappy about that.
What was it? Jim Jeffries said is Australian, and somebody on a plane, somebody called him a stupid limey fag or something like that. He was like, "I'm Australian. Get it right." Or whatever. So it's interesting. I mean, if there's you basically have two things here in the States, because I don't count Midwesterners like as far as that, but you're either from the North or from the South. I mean, and
or the West Coast. They kind of
I don't consent. No, they can fucking fall right off into the ocean.
What about the middle? What about the middle?
We don't really pay attention to the middle because they have a lot of pronunciations that are just fucking stupid. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it is really funny though. There's a very distinct. It's super odd that it still goes now, and the stereotype is that all Southerners are fucking stupid and racist,
right?
And that all Northerners are just fucking asshole, smart ass know-it-alls.
Yeah.
Like that's the separation, and that's just like the accepted stereotype. I think it's funny.
Okay.
It is. But even in the South, you got. I mean, Georgia sounds different than Tennessee. Sounds different than
Dialect.
Alabama.
I'm talking
Dialect,
about the viewpoint of.
Yeah.
Of
We
each
lost
other.
Andre again.
It's all right.
Yeah. He drink. He must be pouring a drink.
Yeah.
He must be pouring a drink.
There he is. Welcome back.
I just enlarged the screen and it kicked me out.
That's all right.
It was one of you guys did it.
He was like, enough of this bullshit.
That's what Steven said. Southerners are racist, and Andrew's like, fucking out of here.
The night's still young, mate. The night's still young.
Oh man.
Still young. Yeah, it's still daylight here.
Yeah.
Whew. So
Yeah. This is.
So I got a question for Andre.
Yeah.
Right before you joined us, before the show, we were chatting with Easy. He said that he had not listened to any of our episodes, but you had watched some on YouTube, and you said, yeah, these guys are, woo, and that's really all he said that you said. So I wanted to know what you actually said.
Well, I think I watched an episode where you guys had a guy on called Troy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Troy.
yeah. Troy's great.
Yeah, but you guys touched on subjects like gays. I think the word gay and the word fag and the word retard.
Yeah.
Those are the sort of stuff that we shy away from in the UK.
Yeah.
And you guys are.
A lot of people in the U.S. shy away from that now as well.
We might mention it. We might mention it in a phone call.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, it's part of it's, I think, generational. We've talked about that. Like, when we grew up, it was a much more, that was just part of, whatever. And then it's much less acceptable now. And like, we don't dig into that too much, but it does depend on who we're talking to.
But Troy, for sure. Troy likes for us to, and he's a pretty conservative guy, but he really likes to, and Trevor and Troy both like to get into those types of things that are considered taboo, and then let's tear it apart, find out why. Should it be taboo?
Yeah,
Why is it taboo?
Troy said that that retard people are evil or wicked or something like that. Yes, he did.
Yep, I forgot you did.
And if I remember correctly, Steve, you agreed with him.
I probably did. Well, we
Shutting
had
doors so that they can't open them.
Yeah, well, we had an episode a couple weeks ago with a guy and talked about if you had an army of a Down syndrome army, like a specialty, like you have a Special Olympics,
special
Down
forces.
syndrome army.
Yeah, no. So
syndrome.
well, it says you have, and I don't mean specifically that, but you have a special.
Right,
You have
special forces.
Well,
That's
no,
what
you
they
have
would be called.
You have a Special Olympics.
Sure.
And you have all these other things. So why don't we have a special army?
Do you guys have like anything like the Special Olympics over there?
The Special Olympics is everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's everywhere.
They call it the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Paralympics.
Oh, okay.
They don't call it the Special Olympics, but yeah.
Yeah,
That's what they call it here.
Yeah, you have the Special Olympics. but,
paratroopers.
the rest of the world has the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Hold on, no. But our Paralympics, those are like people who
Lost limbs.
like might have a missing a limb or unable to walk and stuff like that. Is that what you guys are referring to?
Yeah.
No,
No,
that's not what
we
we're
have a whole.
referring
It's
to.
a.
See, that's what I thought they might not be. I thought they may. I know where they're going.
It's actually it's people with mental. It's people with mental.
Andre, have you ever seen The Ringer? Have you seen The Ringer?
That's
with
exactly
John-
what we're
That's
talking
exactly
about.
No, I haven't. I don't
Yeah.
think I.
No, I volunteered
brilliant
with the
film.
Special Olympics
I
when
bet
I
you
was
did.
when I was in high school and
High school.
Yeah, no,
You were homeschooled in high school.
I know. In that age, no, they had. Okay. No, what I was going to say, it was funny because I used to volunteer with them with the group, and there is a youth pastor from one of the churches that was part of it, and they have this whole march where you. Where everybody walks out together, and he was like covering his face and shit and embarrassed, like because he didn't want everybody to think he was retarded. I was like, "You're a goddamn youth pastor, dude! Like,
Right.
nut
Of course
up
you're
and,
oh, okay,
and be
never
part of the right." But he was just. I was like, "Why are you here?" Like, why are you here, dude? And he was like, I don't want him to think that
trying to save souls.
I don't want him to think I'm one of the athletes. I was like, are you serious?
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But he loves Jesus. Just not Special K.
So the Special Olympics is not the same as the Paralympics. No, it's not.
We have a Paralympics.
We do have that. Yes. No.
Jesus Christ.
There used to be a show. I can't remember what it was, but they used to do these short little things like when they come back from commercial break, and it was called like so and so explains whatever to 1780s guy. And it would always just click to the two of them walking, and the 1780s guy would just say something so you would know. And there one time it was whoever explains the Special Olympics to 1780s guy, and it flashes to them walking, and the 1780s guy goes, "And they race them?" That was yeah. So
I feel like Andre's getting just a slight, like visually uncomfortable, just a little bit.
Oh God!
But luckily I did my homework, so I knew what to expect. Otherwise,
I'd
have been a bit more in shock.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people come on here and don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and we tell them.
Yeah,
well, we always say, hey, before you agree to come on, like listen to an episode, like just one, just to get an idea of what we do. And you'd be surprised at the amount of people that do not do that. Like you could take 20 minutes or 10 minutes in an episode, and you're gonna be like, okay, that's what's happening. Did you just bust the bag?
No, I just dropped the bag.
Okay.
Sorry. I was trying to pick something else out of here. Oh,
yeah,
that's an oblong.
No, I didn't listen. I didn't listen to anything, guys. I thought, you know what? Let's come in cold. Andre, like I said, Andre said he listened and he was like, whew.
So basically, Easy sounds like he does.
Even Tracy mentioned about one of you wanted to fuck the wrinkles out of Betty White.
That was me.
That was probably Steven.
Oh God damn it! I got the Goldschlager.
You got Goldschlager. I got mango habanero Old Smoky whiskey.
Oh, that's gonna be awful.
Yeah, it's gonna be awful.
But Goldschlager, goddamn Goldschlager.
Habanero whiskey.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, all right. So Old Smoky is a mass-produced moonshine. It's not good as far as moonshine goes. It's not real moonshine or whatever. But this is mango
you have various
habanero.
grades of moonshine.
Well, you have moonshine that's actually made in a still illegally, and that's real moonshine. And then you have mass-produced stuff that's just people trying to legally make money off of it.
Yeah.
God, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Habanero.
Mango habanero. Mango habanero. Yeah. So,
and I got Goldschlager. So fucking cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Down the hatch.
Is it as bad? The Goldschlager's not as bad as I remember it being.
That go ahead and take a sip of that.
Is it spicy? Does it light you
Not
up?
at first, it's not. Then your throat's quite warm.
Oh God damn it!
Yeah, see, I don't have. You have a lower tolerance to spicy stuff than I do, but
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
that's something. It's not a bad taste, but it's
Yeah, I got like UK level tolerance to spicy.
UK tolerance.
UK level.
You said UK level, UK level, you know.
Is he having a go?
Yeah, yes, of course having a go.
You having a go,
My
mate?
man's having a pop. He's having a pop.
Okay, like tell me I'm wrong.
He's having
that
a
the
dig.
overall
He's having a
UK
dig.
level of tolerance for hot food is that fucking high. Come on. Let's be honest.
That's not true. No, because a lot of people here in the UK they love their Indian.
yeah.
Well, there is
Indian.
Yeah, isn't the
And so-
curry the local dish of the UK now? The curry. Hot curry.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
you have a lot of
Curry doesn't even come from India anymore. It comes from England.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
How hot is the curry in England, though?
It's
It
curry.
depends which one you
I
want. That was
understand
going to
that, but
burn
there are
the insides
varying
out.
degrees. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just like fish and chip eating motherfuckers.
Fish and chips. I love fish and chips. It's one of my favorite meals.
Fish and chips.
My wife
I
loves-
can't believe you guys know about that.
You say fish and chips?
Yeah, I can't believe they know about fish and chips.
It used to be. That used to be the national dish.
Yeah.
National dish now is curry.
I love fish and chips.
I was gonna say
Like,
fish and chips and depression. Those are the two main things that we're eating in the UK.
yeah.
He's a
It's like living in the UK is like living in Seattle with smarter people.
That's
like it's
absolutely
depressing. Yeah, just all the weather. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Seattle does have a lot of rain. So I can see where they're dropping that one.
It's it was interesting because people
yeah.
talk about how much rain Seattle gets. Tennessee gets more rain than Seattle. We just get it in small doses, large amounts of small doses. We get way more rain than them, but they get it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So it's
Scotland, up here in Scotland, they get the 4 seasons.
You get snow, mate.
in the one fucking day.
Yeah.
In the one day.
Yeah.
And it's true. Seriously, you 1 foot you got flip flop. Next minute you got winter boots. You know, it's just crazy out there. It really is.
It's funny when I told Joey I was talking to you guys and I was excited about having you on and all this stuff. He was like, "Are they those?" He goes, "Are they those like pretentious, stuck-up asshole British people?" And I was like, "I don't think so."
Oh!
I didn't say asshole. I said stuck-up, pretentious British people, not asshole.
I just threw that in because it was implied.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you don't find many if any.
And I didn't say British. I said London. I said Londoners.
In South London.
It's Londoners. Yes.
Well,
and then
that's what I told him. They're from
and that's what he
South
said.
London.
It's South London, and I said, "Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Mary
South
Poppins
London.
to you then."
I'm from South London.
Yeah.
I'm
He's talking about us. Yeah.
No, yeah.
I can get abused at home, mate. I don't need to come here to get abused. I can get abused at home, mate.
We had a guest on the other day, and he was one of the TV guys, and I called him a cunt. So, we're used to throwing it out.
Jay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's another word. That's another word I heard you guys use, and you guys said it was popular in Europe.
Well,
We don't use that word.
Well,
that's a taboo word here.
Well, I guess I should have said Australia. So, tomato.
Well, so so
I'm not sure the two quite correlate though.
No,
for you guys,
Tomato.
Australia is like Texas for us in Tennessee.
Andre, the thing is, up here, they use the word cunt is used as a term of endearment up here.
Sure.
And I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I'm being absolutely serious. I've heard husbands and wives and everything, and I'm thinking, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've heard that
Up here.
like, oh, he's a good cunt.
Maybe we try what?
Yeah.
I'll try with Roxanne. Next time we're on air.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what happened.
No, it's still a very big,
I see what-
for the most part,
Yeah.
like, it is not a,
No,
it's
if
gained
you
popularity.
if
but
you
for the
call
most
somebody
part,
a cunt around here, people really get offended quickly.
Yeah.
Especially if you call a woman
I'm
a cunt.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't say.
No. Well, I called a friend of ours, ex-wife. I called her one time because she was being. I mean, it's like it's like Ricky Gervais said: if you don't want to be called a cunt, don't be a cunt. And it's like, but that's it. She was being one. Do what now?
What was her reaction?
She didn't say anything. What could she say? That's the end all be all. Like, what could she say?
She was in shock.
Here's the thing. Like, I was right. What I said about her was completely 100% true, and I was right. And what could she say? She blocked me on social media after that.
Well, of course.
So, yeah, whatever.
Well, she blocked me after the robot legs
I
conversation.
know that was pretty good. Yeah. So anyway, no. If you watch them, like,
I got called an ableist because I essentially because I said that this dude with no legs probably wish he would have had legs. And then she tried to argue with me. He's like, no, he just I don't know.
you said he wished that maybe he was begging for money so he could get robot legs.
Yeah,
is what
that's
you
right.
said.
And then she said, "We just assumed that he wanted legs." And I was like,
Right.
"Well, I guarantee you, if he did not have legs and he could buy robot legs, he would fucking buy some robot legs, man."
That's still not the best of it.
Yeah, you too, right?
But see, that's not the best. This is some of the best trolling I've read online, and I do mostly just read trolling online. And somebody else said, "How do you know he would want robot legs? That whatever." And he said, "Well, he could walk. Think about being able to run again, and I'm not even going to mention the sweet slam dunks you could do on the basketball court." Oh, yeah. And that was like it at that point. Like, that was the end of it. Like,
yeah. If I could buy myself robot legs, I have perfectly working legs, and I would get robot legs. God damn it!
You can shoot somebody in the bathroom that you're dating, and you get away with it if you have fake legs. I mean, what?
He's nutters.
Oh man.
Yeah. No. Anyway. Oh God! If you watch,
we're glad to have you guys.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you guys say cunt is not used a lot, but if you watch the British movies and stuff around here, when we see them, you'd think it is used quite a bit. So
actually, you know what? It is used a lot. It is used.
not. Don't listen to him. It is not.
It's used a lot. It is used a lot.
You've heard that word on TV.
well, maybe not on TV, but I'm talking about in person.
I'm not actually talking about TV. I'm talking about in general. Up here, I'm talking about up here. They use it. They use it a lot. They really do use it a lot. Even I wince.
Down here in London, mate. Down here in London now. It's a taboo word. Especially if you use that when a woman's around. You use
of course, exactly. You use it when a woman's around. Then you're looking for trouble.
Yeah.
You know.
So you saying one guy says it to another guy then? Who are you saying it to?
Like I said, I know a couple, okay? And they, like I'm telling you, they use it as a term of endearment practically. It practically is a term of endearment.
All right, I'll try to have a look. And when we're next on air,
you do that. You do that. Nice knowing you. Take care.
Man, Andre, you're being a real cunt.
oh man, fuck you, man.
Love it.
Is that the drink talking there, Andre? Is that the drink talking?
Oh god, yeah.
So a little bit later, if I don't know what we have in, so occasionally I don't want to do it now. I don't think we did on the episode Andre was talking about, but we have something that we do called the bag of shit.
Yeah.
And what it is just random topics that people write 1 or 2 words and they put it in the bag, and we just draw it and we just fucking talk about whatever's on.
Whatever it makes you think.
Whatever it makes you think about. Just open game.
Yeah, okay.
And so if you want,
and you call it bag of shit.
We call it just because it's a bag of shit. You know, shitty ideas, whatever. And so, yeah.
Okay.
And so, and also, nobody's done this yet other than like a couple guests we've had. But if you guys have any topics you want to throw in after the episode, let us know and we'll add them to the bag to come up in later episodes. So, anyway, it's a.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But that was what got us in trouble with the hockey guy, because one of the things that came out was like puppet porn.
Yeah,
and you know it was very bizarre.
What?
Puppet
Dude, hold on.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're ready for you guys, man.
Let me just say, do not Google puppet porn.
Yeah, don't.
Do not Google puppet porn.
Keep your safe search on.
There is
in fact, you know what? I'm going to Google it right now.
Do it, please.
Go ahead.
And
he knows that once he tells us not to Google it, he knows that we're going
to Google puppet porn and then immediately go to the images.
I'm surprised you guys have Google all the way over there.
You're wrong.
Mate, we don't have puppet porn. That's what we don't have.
Oh, I promise you've got it somewhere. If you can think of it, there's a fetish for it. Yeah. So.
Oh shit!
This is not that bad.
Oh, you shut the fuck up.
It's really not that bad.
Does it grow on you? Well, the gold
It grows on you. Yeah, it grows on you. It's as a whiskey goes, it's not a good whiskey, but it's just something to drink. It's not that bad.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So the one.
Oh, you are kidding.
What?
1 second. Curvy sex doll gets fucked by 2 male sex dolls in publicity porn movie. Oh, good grief!
Oh, the one thing I stumbled across.
Apparently, that's what they do.
There was a lot of fists and buttholes is what I stumbled across of, like, you know, people literally trying to act like their person's a puppet.
Yeah. And see, that's what you think of when you hear puppet porn, and I think of Team America World Police puppet porn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus.
So I was
actually you every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, man, when I checked out you guys' episode, I actually have one thing I wanted to bring up from the last one I listened to because it was amazing.
Go ahead.
But you guys, like, it's really cool. Like your intro to the show, you have all kinds of like several advertisements. They're like professional advertisements. I was listening to that. I was like, well, what the fuck are we doing wrong? Probably saying cunt too much, but you know, it seems like it's a, you know, I was like, oh shit, this is more legit. Like, not that because you talk to other podcasts sometimes, and they're at various levels of where they're at, right? And you can't really determine by a name or even quality of the stuff. So, like, there's one podcast we talked to a while ago, younger guys, and they were nice enough, but they have like sponsors and shit. And I was like, how the fuck are you assholes getting sponsors? Right. You know, you guys are like 24 years old and, you know, whatever, but they do. I mean, I get why people don't want to be affiliated with this show, sure, like businesses. Like it's off brand for most people. Fully understand that. But, you know, it just amazes me because like they suck.
Yeah,
they're nice enough guys.
whatever.
Their podcast was garbage. But I guess they're much cleaner though. They have a better.
Sure.
Did you say you had them on your show?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I talked to him. I still talk to him from time to time, and I'll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell.
That's the thing.
So
like,
how are you going to explain it to them that you just said on air that they're garbage? That
they don't
suck?
listen to us.
Yeah, they don't listen.
They don't listen. They're too busy out there getting sponsors. Yeah. No, they don't. No, we've had only a few podcasts that we've had on as guests have actually asked us to come back and be guests on their show. Like it's an interesting one. Yeah. Like we had a couple of girls women out of Texas as a guest on ours. And we were supposed to be a guest on theirs, and we haven't heard anything from them since they've been on.
Which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. But it's
they have lost your number.
Well, it could be because one of them was dating a guy, and she didn't want his name out there, and somehow
we got him to call into the show.
Somehow we got him to call into the show, and then we also got his name out there.
Yeah.
So
he'd been anonymous.
without saying it ourselves, we actually got the girls to say his name. Like. Was the thing like I don't know, we just
then I think the kicker is we ask them, they're like, so where do you think your relationship with her is going? And then it was just, oh man, so we think we ruined her relationship probably, but
they're not together anymore. Yes, they're not together.
These guys were dangerous, Easy.
Yeah, you did.
They ruined relationships, man. I like that.
Well, my thought is
we might have to go into witness protection.
Well, Steven's tired of ruining his own relationships that he's trying to ruin other people's now. Yeah. So that's
I'm on my third marriage because I'm really, really good at relationships.
So whatever.
Yeah. No, it's like
how long you been doing the podcast?
A little over a year and a half. Let's see.
This is episode 91, and we go every week.
You've done 91, did you say?
Yeah, 91, and we record every week. So.
Yeah. This is
okay.
So
Damn.
we've not missed a week yet. Knock on something.
Well, we've doubled up a couple episodes just to.
Early on, we would record 2 and then release them, and then afterwards, it got to be more fun to do it every week. Plus, if you talked about anything,
more fun.
Well, it is more fun. You get if you talk about anything in the news, at least it's relevant. It's not a week late.
Yeah.
So
and it's easier for guests too.
Absolutely, yes.
So. Which
it also keeps you from coming over here for 8 hours rather than 3 or 4.
Jesus Christ. That was the worst. Coming over here like 2. When we started, I'd come over here like 2 in the afternoon, and we'd wrap up at like midnight after.
Yeah, it was a long day.
Awful.
Yeah. Now he shows up at 7. He's out of here by 10:30 or 11. So, yeah.
Yeah, it started out for us to spend time together. Now it's like, fuck it, I'm so tired of spending time with him every week.
Yeah, we rarely talk to each other during the week anymore.
Please.
Yeah, Andre and I talk. We'll text.
Yeah.
Practically every day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously, like with regards to the next week's topic or some rubbish like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of we text.
We do some of that.
Yeah. Dick pics. The usual.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dick videos.
You got to get the vinegar strokes in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh God.
Do you guys know what vinegar? You know what vinegar strokes are, right?
No, but we're about to find out.
Okay,
I'm gonna start making notes.
Okay, so vinegar strokes are the final strokes right before you come, where it said you can see into a man's soul.
It's the face you make. Yes.
Yeah, those are the vinegar strokes.
And it's called vinegar strokes.
That sour look.
It looks like you just took a sip of vinegar. That's why. That's the face you make.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, but it said if you can stare into a man's eyes in his vinegar strokes, you can see into his soul.
That's right.
Oh, good God.
Into a man's eyes.
I can see the regret just all over Andre. He's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
No. As I said, I was going to say I came prepared, but that doesn't sound quite right, does it? But I knew what to expect. Let's put it on that.
Yeah.
I knew what to expect.
Yeah. I'm going to cut that part of the video out as a promo and just where Andre just says I came. And then I'm just going to leave it at that. Did you have a good time, Andre? I came. And then I'm going to leave it at that.
I do have like a moderately, not serious question, but a legitimate question.
Go ahead.
So
I had a bunch and I've forgotten them now because we've laughed a lot.
So my question is something you see, because it's American media, right? So obviously everything revolves around America. and that's the same with any type of fucking media. But do you guys in the UK care at all or nearly as much about American politics as American politics says you guys give a shit about what's going on here? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think we care that much about American politics, but we were definitely interested in your man, Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but whether or not it was the political side or just the craziness that he was doing.
Or it was a case of what the fuck did you lot do?
Yeah. It's been very boring the last 3 months.
I am very apolitical. Like I like watching the shit burn down around me. But the amount of entertainment that came out of Trump's presidency, just as far as just Twitter alone, was, oh my God, it was just priceless. Yeah. And it always amazed me that people are like, can you believe he said this? I was like, it's 4 years in. I absolutely can believe he said that shit. It's
everything he said leading up to being elected, if that didn't prepare you for everything he said during his presidency, something is wrong. Yeah.
But just watching I mean, relationships, like parents and kids quit talking to each other. Like it completely crumbled relationships. It was insane to see that happen.
Well, we come from very conservative, very Christian backgrounds. Yeah. Like our family's that way, and we're not that way. And we're not very. There's some things we're conservative about, but for the most part, we're pretty liberal and down the middle of things. But
don't speak for me, you asshole.
But I've known you long enough. There's just topics I just won't talk about around my family anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
My mom anymore. You can have a decent conversation with my dad. You're not going to change his mind, but with my mom and her husband, you absolutely. Actually, my mom listened to an episode of the podcast recently, and she told my sister, I don't know why he says those things he says. He must be lost.
My sister called me and asked.
She's worried about you, Joe. She's worried about you.
I know she is.
My sister called me and she said, I think we need to talk about your salvation. I was like, yeah, let's have a conversation about my salvation. That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
it's deep, but we both are very deep-rooted Southern Christianity background. It's
Oh, right.
Yeah, like
oh my gosh,
full on. The Democrats stole the election. Donald Trump is the best president we've ever had. We're gonna make full on, man.
It's the people's president.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
So dare I ask, what happened
when he lost
with you guys?
What happened? Reality. Every once in a while, a choice. A choice few people that are lucky make it out. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I was my wife and I were over at my sister's house last night, and she was saying that our mother has really gotten way back into church now. She's there every time the door's open and all of that stuff. And she was saying, I don't know. My sister said, I don't know what is, like we were talking about the vaccine. And a lot of your conservative Christian people are anti-vaccine, anti the coronavirus or COVID vaccine. I'm not. I'm having my second vaccine this coming Monday. Ooh, that one felt like Jaeger. I turned that one. I grabbed one that felt like Jaeger, and I changed to this, and it's Jaeger. Son of a bitch. Anyway, so she was saying, I don't know what is just general apprehension about the vaccine, or what is just the stupid things that we were taught growing up being in church. And so it's I don't know. Like, for me, as I've gotten older, I've just said...
Such a long answer. Jesus Christ.
Well, you made me pick a liquor that completely threw off my train of thought. But for me, as I've gotten older, I've just kind of said anything that sounded or felt like it was someone giving me their opinion, I'm not interested in that anymore. When it comes to religion or political thought or whatever. Yeah. I'm more interested in what I've seen with my own eyes, or researched on my own, or
that's why I believe the Earth is flat. I've never seen the curve.
Well, you just haven't been in a high enough plane yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume then you guys didn't see the episode we had with
one of the
flat earther,
prominent flat Earth guys.
A flat earther.
Oh, it was so much fun.
No, I didn't see your one.
No.
I've seen a few, but just not your one. But I've seen a few podcasts or a few YouTubers.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, so
discussing
we had
their views.
David Weiss on in January, and he's one of the prominent
Oh,
voices of the flat Earth. And it was a fun podcast. Like, neither of us are flat earthers, but it was a fun podcast. I mean, he was a nice guy. I expected him to be an asshole, and I was prepared to be an asshole back, and he just wasn't.
He was a super good guy.
He was a really nice guy. He just made some asinine statements.
So are they literally saying that the Earth's flat? Is that what they're literally saying?
100%.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
And are they able to come up with any robust arguments
They
to
think that they
substantiate
can.
that statement?
Well,
They think
you know,
that they
like
can.
if you look out on the horizon, is it fucking curved? No.
Right.
So obviously it's flat. Like that's essentially the argument.
They'll also tie it back to the Bible. They
yeah,
will
a lot
also
of
tie
Bible
it back to
tie-ins.
the Bible as well. Yeah. A lot of flat earthers are Christians.
Your favorite reading material there, Andre.
Yeah. Well, heavily, like a lot more heavily conservative Christians, but
So now, Andre, are you a King James version or a New King James version guy?
Well, I've read the King James version, but I'm yet to be converted.
Oh.
I'm yet to be converted. But yeah, I grew up as my parents were Catholic, so
Okay.
I know about taking Holy Communion and confession,
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
A lot of guilt.
it just, yeah. but yeah, it just leads to more questions rather than answers.
right.
Sure.
Well, that was my experience. Like for me in that regard, like I worked in the arena, and the more life kicked the shit out of me, the more I realized that what you're saying here doesn't line up with every other fucking thing. Like it doesn't match. Like you can say X, Y, and Z, but if the answer is A, B, and C, then like, what you're saying to me is irrelevant right now. And being an idealistic kid, you tend to believe you taught to respect your elders and listen to what people tell you, and then you get out in the real world. I'm like, they were full of fucking shit.
Yeah.
And some of this,
Well, you
and
also
some of the
see how
advi-
much those adults really look down on other people as well,
And how much-
how much racism and prejudice is involved in stuff, especially in the
Yeah,
South.
judgmental.
Well, there's so much.
judgmental.
Well, all this, it's truth is used to, or the guise of truth is used to justify really just being an asshole and hating other people. And it's, I don't know, like I have no stomach for it anymore. Like I have no, like I bite my tongue around my family out of respect. Like I don't get into it because, they're my family and I care about my family as much as I can for who I am. But, so I keep that separate, but I don't know. It's a mess, and just to see the amount of damage that the church has caused to so many people over the years, I'm like, how can you justify this? Like, you can rebrand it, repackage it, make it look prettier, water it down, but at its baseline, it's still the same shit that's been used to oppress and hurt people for fucking thousands of years.
Exactly.
Of course, the flip side is that there are millions of people who are living just and proper lives,
Right.
under the banner of religion,
Right. And well, as an individual, right, you can apply these things in a way that makes your life valuable. And if that's what it takes to make that happen, then I don't have an issue with religion, because all it is a means to explain our existence in the world around you. At its core, that's all any religion is making sense of why the fuck we're here, right? And so if that guides you in a way to make you a better person and to treat people kindly, then fucking great. But if you're one of those people that use as an excuse to fucking hurt other people, then fuck you. You're a piece of shit, Right. And it really boils down to being
beautifully.
Yeah, and it boils down to being an individual and how you apply it. But when you have groups of people that all apply it as an asshole, then you get these really large groups of fucking assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church, you had the Crusades where they just murdered millions of Jews and Muslims just because, because you could pray for them after you fucking killed them, and then they'd go to heaven. So you're doing them a favor by killing them. Here in America,
of course, Christianity used it to enslave the black people.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
India.
Yeah. Well,
Of course, I'm going to bring that. Of course, I'm going to bring that up.
Yeah, well, same thing here in the States. I mean, the Southern conservative, or I shouldn't say conservatives, but they believe that God, they were justified what they were doing with the Bible. And if I didn't beat my slaves as much as the other guy did, then I'm being a gentle and kind slave master. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
And usually, in my experience, again, not necessarily on an individual basis, as a whole, it's always used to justify the behavior that would not be acceptable on another, like in common society,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So I had a pastor one time.
So again,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
no, go for it, Joe.
Well, I was going to say I had a pastor one time.
It's
and
going to
you
be a
met him.
long story. Just
No,
buckle
say
up.
you met him. He was the pastor, pastor of the church in Fayetteville at that time. But he was talking about, as far as disciplining your kids, and he said, everybody says it says spare the rod, spoil the child, but the actual translation is he who spares the rod hates their child.
Right.
And he was using that as the excuse to beat the shit out of your kids for acting up.
Love it.
But because of the career that my wife has had and the things that she has learned, there's a lot of things I've learned. There's a lot of shit we were taught growing up about raising kids and disciplining kids that just isn't the most effective way of dealing with a child. So anyway,
Yeah, my question has always been: if beating works, why do you have to do it so often? Mm-hmm. That's always
It's because I'm lonely.
well, you also find that kids that tend to be more violent or whatever growing up also were raised having their ass beat quite a bit.
Yep.
So-
Yep. Well, no, I would agree with that.
For
I
the
would
most
agree with
part,
that.
there are outliers. I got the shit beat out of me growing up by my mom, and I'm not a violent person. I don't mind getting into a fight, but I'm not a violent person.
Yeah, of course, he's not going to say. Of course,
Sure.
like anything else, it's going to be a holistic view. It's not going to be
Sure.
everyone.
Yeah.
But definitely, like you said, you're lucky you got beaten by your mum. I mean, my parents, they used to be in line. They'd wait in line. So
All right.
Yeah.
not just your mum or your dad. Everybody, even aunties, if they were around, they could join.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
But what that does is that when you go to school, you fear the teachers less because the cane or whatever that was
Right.
going on in those days, they couldn't sort you out anywhere as close as what the parents did. The worst thing a teacher could have said to me when I was going to school is, "I'm going to tell your parents."
Right.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that they could say. Better you cane me or slipper or whatever. Just don't tell my parents.
Yeah.
Well, the rule at my
Yeah,
house
they-
is if
they'll
I
kill
got
it.
and they called it paddling here in the South, is if the teacher
That's what- yeah.
gave me a paddling at school, then I got whipped again when I got home. That was the rule with my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
got the
Yeah, that's what we got.
leather
Yeah,
belt
yeah,
on the
That's
ass.
what I got, the leather belt from my mom. My dad didn't do a lot of
Yeah.
butt whipping.
Yeah.
But
Now my
mom did.
grandmother, my mom's mom, always got the switch.
The switch.
You guys
yeah.
know what the switch is?
Oh, yeah. Got back garden and pull off a branch.
Yeah, the
That's
little-
right.
Yeah, and she'd go like, "Hey, I remember the first time
They
she
make
was-
you go pick your own
She might go
switch.
pick my own switch.
That's right.
And then
Yeah.
when you're little, you don't know.
Yeah.
So I got the smallest one I could find, not knowing that was going to be the absolute most painful one I could get.
Yeah.
So I got a
Love it.
question about discipline. I mean, Andre said, you have both parents lined up and then aunts and uncles or whatever, to discipline. There's a general consensus in the U.S., especially in the South, that black kids' parents were way more disciplinary as far as just beat your ass for stuff. Is it the same in the UK?
Definitely the same. I mean,
Not now, but yeah, when we were growing up, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. Our parents came over to the UK thinking it was going to be not a bed of roses, but not realizing the pressures that they were going to be under,
Yeah.
the racism as well. They didn't expect that. So obviously they were under a lot of pressures. The last thing that they wanted were kids,
Disobedient kids.
Yeah.
who were answering back and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think they took things to the extreme. And as a result, my generation have gone the total opposite way now. So you've got a lot of my generation who, the mothers especially, want to be friends with their kids.
Oh, Jesus
I
Christ.
had
Yeah.
a girl in particular who, when the child was about, her daughter was about, I don't know, 11, 12, she was giving the mother back chat. And when I said to her, aren't you going to sort that out? She said, well, she's just expressing herself. By the time that child was about 15, she had to kick that child out because that child was swearing at her and cursing her and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a thin line. Yeah, there's a thin line between being friends with your kid and them not realizing that you are their parent and trying to treat you as an equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, and
Yeah.
I know that Easy had started to disagree a little bit, but for me, and we've talked about this, and we disagree a little bit. I got spanked growing up. Grandparents were different, but my dad, he was the disciplinarian, but he never spanked us when he was mad. It was always go to your room. He would calm the fuck down, and then he would say, "Hey, And this is when we were little. Like, he didn't whip us up until after, like we were kids. And he'd be like, hey, we told you this. This is why you're getting a spanking. This is the consequence to what you did. And then that would incur. And so it was much, much different than him getting pissed and jerking me up and beating the shit out of me type of thing. And I'm not saying that's for good or for... Now, I will say the last spanking I got, I was fucking 17 years old.
Me too.
But that was... but I had done some shit. I'd fucked up, and he was like, you're in a spanking. And I knew better than to like mouth off. And I was like, Dad, I'm 17. Like, I'm really too old to get a spanking. And he said, well, I tell you what. And he's like... I can give you a spanking, or you can fight me like a man. It's your choice. And I was like, I will take the spanking.
Come on, Andre. You know your parents was your mom and dad would say the same. Your dad would say the same thing.
No, there was no options. Oh no, Karen, Steve. So what did you say?
What?
He said,
so
what did you say?
So what is your
I took the spanking. Like, geez, my dad was a big dude. He would have kicked the shit out of me. If we'd have gotten a fist fight, because that's the thing is he was very deliberate, and if he said something, he would do something. Yeah. And so when he said, you can fight me like a man, he would have thrown hands with me had I made that decision. So, and the spanking didn't even hurt at that point. It was just the humiliation of that, and then him calling my friends or whenever they came over, be like, hey, I just whipped Steven's ass because he was dumb, type of thing.
So at 17, what are you getting beaten with then?
It was just like the same thing. He used to always give us like 2 pops with like a belt, like hands on the wall or whatever, and just like 2 pops across the butt. Like, it was, at 17, it didn't even hurt at that point. It was just I'm 17 getting my fucking ass spanked like a fucking baby. Like,
it's degrading. It's the
last time I got hit by my mum, I was in my 30s.
30s.
You probably had it coming.
This already, Andre. Well, no, my mum is like I said, she was strict. She raised 4 of us by herself, but it was for something I did when I was 12, 13, and my brother had told her by accident, and my mum had these set of rules, and they stood.
So what did she do at 30 then? What did she do?
She hit me with the frying pan. The same frying pan. I told you, she knocked out my brother. She hit me with a frying pan and knocked him spark out. Same frying pan. Yeah, same frying pan.
See, these guys are gonna think that we're animals, mate.
That's funny. Well, I think my mom only, like, it was mostly my dad, but when I was little. I've only heard the story. Evidently, my mom accidentally like broke my nose when I was like 4. Because she had gotten down to tell me something and I spit in her face, just being an asshole kid.
What?
And just, I don't know why, but she just habitually, like, out of reaction, like, backhanded me. And it busted my nose, and she was like, oh, I had like 2 black eyes, and she's like trying to explain that she doesn't like beat us and abuse us.
Whoa. You spit in your mother's face?
No, that's insane,
I was like
isn't
3 or 4. Yeah, I was little.
I
don't
never
remember
done that. No way.
Man.
I wouldn't even consider it.
If I spit in my mom's face, this would be a seance.
Well, what she told me was, the school I was at, or preschool or whatever the fuck it was, is the kids were bad about spitting on each other when they got mad. They were having an issue with that, and so I just brought it home with me. It's basically what happened.
Okay.
Still, but no, it didn't stand. Like, it was bad. But
no, I've had several friends tell me that my mom treated me as though we were a black family growing up, because my mom used to beat the shit out of us. She did. I mean, she used to beat the shit out. My dad didn't. My parents divorced when I was young, and my dad really didn't. His discipline was just more like, you're grounded, you're not going anywhere, you're not doing anything, whatever. But my mom would beat the shit out of us. Yeah. Like,
do you look like your dad?
Do I look like my dad? I'm actually a pretty good mix between the two of them.
She saw you.
Yeah, I mean, it could. It's an interesting. It's an interesting thing, because I'm 40 now, and over the last 5 to 7 years or so, my relationship with my dad has gotten better, and my relationship with my mom has gotten a little worse. And it's growing up. She used to trash my dad all the time. She would really talk bad about my dad. But my dad never talked bad about my mom. He always paid his child support. He got us when it was his time. And then eventually all 3 of their kids as teenagers decided to move in with my dad. And it was just one of the, I don't know, it's just one of those things. Like, my dad is a very fair person. He can be judgmental, but he's a very conservative Christian, but he's a very fair person, very generous person.
Right.
My mom is very judgmental and quick to raise the hand. I mean, like, whereas he said,
Mike Tyson quick.
That's going to say, whereas like you said, your dad would not do anything when he was angry, he would cool off first. No, my mom would do it all while she was angry and then lecture you after she cooled off. So you got the worst of both worlds. So my mom was.
I had an uncle who would lecture us, and he would lecture us for hours. I'd rather just take the beating and be done.
Yeah,
I was the same way when it came to my mom. My mom beat my youngest sister's ass till it was black and blue because she told my other sister, "I hate you," and then my mom said, "You apologize," and she wouldn't, and she beat her. Ooh. She beat her for 20 minutes straight, stopping every minute or so, and said, "All right, apologize." And when my sister wouldn't, she'd go right back to doing it again. And it was
your sister's amazing.
Yeah.
If I'd got that option, I would have apologized.
No.
Before the first lick, I would have apologized.
No.
I'd have done anything. I'd have said two things.
No.
Wow.
No.
That's amazing.
It was, my mom was, my wife tells me, because my wife was raised as an only child, and she's from her parents are mixed, and so she really was an only child, really didn't have a lot of the physical discipline that I had, and she says, "No, your mom abused you guys. She didn't borderline abuse you. She abused you." So, I don't know. Whatever.
That's what you call it nowadays, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we would call it abuse.
The society would call it abuse, but we definitely don't look at it as abuse. In fact, that's why even in our program, we brought it up before, and we make jokes about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened years ago.
Sure.
It just, to me, doesn't make any sense trying to hold that in my heart and being angry with it,
right.
or trying to get my parents to apologize or anything like that. It's something that happened. You know,
Right.
Who knows what stresses they were under?
Right.
Sure.
I don't know.
And like I said before, 9 times out of 10, we had messed up.
You're going to say we deserved it.
Well, I think that's
we did. 9 times we did.
I'm never gonna admit that we deserve not some of the licks that I got, bro.
Oh, for sure. No, I'll never say I should have gotten beat the way.
But
he was tired.
But along Andre's point though, and not to shit on
get oxygen,
right? And not to shit on anything, but or any younger generation. But I feel like what you just said is a big difference that it seems to be lacking as I'm seeing younger people grow up, is that letting it go and realizing that, hey, this shit doesn't define me or how I treat other people or how I act. This is shit that happened back then, as opposed to continually blaming your parents or blaming your upbringing on why you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's a mark of that change of saying, hey, what happened doesn't define me. I define me. I'll make the decision of who I'm going to be, and not blame it on somebody else. That accountability is a big thing, and I feel like that's something that's it is kind of fading out. You know, there's a lot of it's more acceptable to blame. Oh, my parents were just mean to me, so I can't handle emotional crisis. Sure. You know, whatever the case may be. And,
well, that's my thing. Is once you know why you're the way you are, and you're an adult, if you don't go and get it fixed, whether it's therapy or whatever, it's on you at that point. You can't blame it on the other stuff now.
Exactly,
You can't blame it on anything else.
Well, my grandmother, the one that used to beat me with the switch.
The racist?
Yes, the racist one.
Okay.
But the greatest thing that my grandparents on my mom's side, my grandmother not so much actually, as my grandfather was super racist. But the best advice she ever gave me, she was like, if you're having trouble with something, she said, either change it or fucking accept it, because nobody cares about what the fuck you're going to cry about. Like, those are your options. You either change your situation or you accept your situation. There's no point in complaining about it because you're the only one that it affects. Yeah. So I always, and I've taken that to heart. To me, that's actually been really good advice with life. Like, if I can change it and I want to change it, I work to change it.
Yeah. Well, and all my kids are adults now, so you can have it's a different kind of conversation you can have with them now. You can talk to them as adults, and you can be friendly with them and have that sort of relationship that you can't when they're young. So it's nice. But Steve and I also have a very differing opinion on kids.
Yeah. Like, we have a different.
Genuinely like being around my kids.
Yeah, but we also have a very different psychological makeup, and that
absolutely
changes a lot. So, okay, before we get in too deeper, we usually take a break for about 10 minutes. Right at this point. because most of the time people have to piss really bad, and I'm dying for a fucking cigarette. So
He needs to go outside and blow a fag.
right.
Yeah.
So if you guys are good, we'll pull everybody off screen, put a background up, and we'll come back in about 10. If you're, we'll leave the stream going though, so you guys don't have to log off or anything like that. But
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
yep,
cool.
you guys good with
Alright.
that? All right.
We'll be back
Yep.
in
Yeah,
10. Yep.
Hey, everybody. We'd like to take a minute to tell you about a really cool podcasting app called Stitcher Premium.
Yeah, Stitcher Premium is, like you said, a free app, and they've got everything you could look for: true crime, comedy, pop culture, The Office ladies. I think Conan O'Brien's podcast is on there. There's lots of things on there.
And archives of all those things.
Oh, yeah. And smart lists.
Yeah, the smart list. That's what I was about to say, you fuck. Smart lists basically will watch what you're listening to, or say listen to what you're listening to,
Right.
use some fancy algorithms, and make recommendations on shit that you already like.
Yeah, so if you go to stitcher.com/premium and use the code B3F, you can get a month free. So it's $4.99 a month, or $34.99 if you pay for a full year. But use the code B3F and you'll get a free month.
Check it out. All right. We are
All
back. The other
We're back. We're waiting on the other guys to.
Oh, look,
come
shit,
back.
we got
There's
Andre. We got Andre.
Andre's back.
What's
Hey,
up,
there
dude?
we go.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Andre. I don't know if you've got your mic muted or what.
Why not? No, I'm not muted.
Got you here,
Testing.
up here on the. Nope, Steven, you turned the wrong one up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
we
my
got you
fault.
now.
I turned the wrong fucking fader up because I'm a dumbass. We don't
Okay.
have easy back yet, but we figured we'd just jump right back in.
Probably checking out that puppet porn stuff, isn't he?
Right? he's rubbing a good one out
He's got to
before he
see
comes
for the rest of
back
the
on.
night.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here he is.
Here he comes.
Hey.
Hey.
Welcome.
Sorry,
welcome,
people.
Welcome
Sorry.
back.
Yeah.
What I missed?
Oh,
So
no.
much. You should have heard the shit he was saying about you.
Yeah. We figured you stepped off camera to look.
It might be all true.
Well, he said that you were stepping off camera. You were busy digging through puppet porn.
I said it.
Oh man.
Please.
Oh shit.
Learn something new every day. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking puppet porn.
Learn something new every day, mate.
We're waiting on Joey to catch up on his fucking drinks here. He's being a little bitch with it. So we were joking off when we were outside that like we appreciate nothing else of you guys coming on because your accents make us seem just a little bit smarter.
That's
it's
right.
like, oh yeah, we had British guys on. We're totally smarter than everyone else.
You take the show to a whole new level.
Hold on. He's saying that our accent makes them sound a bit smarter, easy. What's he saying?
Yeah,
What's he saying?
I heard him.
Yeah, well, the general consensus in the
I
States
just
are
body swerve what you said. That's all.
right. Well, no, the general
Yeah.
consensus is British people are automatically smarter because of
That's
their
right.
accents. I mean, they don't realize you guys are from South London, and if you were from northern London, it would take it to another level.
That's
but
right.
we'll take what we can get.
He's scraping the barrel with us. That's what he's saying. He's scraping the barrel with
No,
us.
I was-
We're the bottom of the barrel.
No,
Yeah,
I always
like him,
like no.
I'll take what I can get.
You guys aren't from Blackpool, so we're good.
He doesn't have Blackpool. Okay.
You know about Blackpool?
Yeah, dude. When I was there, that's
yeah.
what everybody was like. At least you're not from Blackpool. That was like everybody hated for some reason hated Blackpool.
Fuck me.
Oh,
I went
please.
there once, never again.
They got fair there, so I've been there. I take the family there.
Yeah, I was
fun fair.
the Pepsi Max that was like this huge roller coaster at one point in time. I think we went there and did that
Yeah,
shit.
see? Yeah.
And it was a shithole. I'll
Nah,
give you
I
that.
went. The best thing about Blackpool were the roads that led out of the place.
That sounds like New Jersey.
Yeah, it's like
The roads that led away from it. It
yeah,
was
that's
fucking
our New
disgusting. I
Jersey.
hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah.
And now you're all settled in Northern England, and things are going good for you. So
Whoa, no, I'm up in Scotland. Scotland.
Scotland.
yeah, that's what I said. Northern England.
Yeah, I heard what you said.
Yeah. Our fourth largest audience comes out of England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
whatever
for real?
reason, the site lumps those in together.
Which
so.
is probably like 6 people, but we're happy with it.
Please.
Well, it's weird. Like we were going through our stuff, and it's shrunk down, but like 40%, I think it's 36 now, of our demographic are females. I'm like, what kind of fucking women are listening to this podcast? You know, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some girls they love the rough treatment, isn't it? You're giving it the rough stuff. The gentleman face is
exactly. Yeah.
Couple of guys slap them around, call them cunts.
Jesus.
Keep saying I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that with Roxanne when we get back.
Yeah. please do, and let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
I'll send the pictures with my eyes out here. I'll send you the pictures.
Yeah. Oh God.
From his hospital bed.
Yeah.
You said you had a question.
I can't remember what it was now.
You were talking about verbal differences.
Oh, so I noticed something earlier, you guys, and I knew what you meant, but when you said back chat, talking to the parents, and so here we call that talking back.
Chat back, I think it is. I don't know what I said.
So I just wonder what are some phrases or some of the things that are slightly different, from there to here. I know there are some obvious.
Comes to my mind.
Go ahead.
I remember my parents, and this is years back. My mum actually said to me, "As long as you have a hole in your ass, don't you ever do that again." and that really, I was shocked when I heard it, and I'm shocked to this day that she. I'm sure if I asked her, she'll say she never said that, but she did.
No, that's great.
As long as you have a hole in your ass, don't you ever do that again.
Okay, so let me tell you what my mom once said to me. This is what my mom once said to me. My mom once said to me, and she said, if I hit you, or if I kick you, you fart a verb and shoot a pronoun.
Fart a verb. Ooh, very.
I like it.
Yeah, I know. That's what mom. I was like, we get English language here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We get English lesson here. It was like, what? Yeah, they should fart a verb and shit a pronoun.
Yeah. Well, it's weird.
Another thing that my mum used to say.
What's that?
If I hit you, you'll shit and see vision. I don't know if you guys understand that. Shit and see vision.
That's funny.
So you guys know what? Yeah.
We didn't have anything like that. I mean, people said
that's going to be some licks for you to start seeing stuff that's not really there.
I mean, some people would say, "I'm going to knock you into next week," but that's about as close as we have to anything like that. Yeah.
No, my parents, they would always take that extra step.
Well, there's a weird
guys. Our parents are from the Caribbean, so they brought that with them.
Oh yeah,
they brought that mentality with them.
Yeah, there's the saying here that I think is I've never heard it outside of the South.
Yeah,
and that's if it's raining when the sun's out, they call it the devil's beating his wife.
Oh well, there's a lot of things like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
Never heard of that.
They're like, hey man, devil's beating his wife, and that's when it's raining and the sun's out. It's the weirdest shit.
But there's a lot of weird little things like thunder is God's bowling and shit like that too. But yeah, the devil's beating his wife and it's raining while the sun's out. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other things. I mean, like just from some of the comedians and things I watch, I know like there are things like at the grocery store, like the cart. You guys call the trolley, something like that.
Trolley, yep.
Yeah. We just call it a shopping cart
or a buggy.
A buggy, yeah. Get the shopping buggy.
Yeah.
Shopping cart, the buggy, whatever. Yeah. But I think buggy may be south.
We call it a pram over here, but you call it a stroller with regards to babies.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, you said a pram, and I immediately think of like a playpen, where you put the kid in and they sit around and play, or whatever. But
that's a playpen. But no, when you wheel them around, we call it a pram, but you call it a stroller.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's like boot and bonnet instead of hood and trunk.
Yeah, so I went to a recording of the show, the Grand Tour. No, not Top Gear, the Grand Tour.
My bad.
And there was had an argument. I went to the Nashville recording in season 1, and there was an argument we were all having with Clarkson about they calling something a boot and a bonnet, and then we call them coupes, and you guys call them coupe, or he calls them that anyway.
That's right.
Yeah. We pronounce the E on the end.
That's right. Yes. And then I know you guys call the Jaguar, the car, a Jaguar.
Jaguar.
And we call it a Jaguar. But now there are some idiots over here that call them Jaguars. And those are just idiots that don't know how to read.
That don't make no sense. Yeah.
No, it doesn't make
They
any
must
sense.
have a lisp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something.
And they have aluminum and aluminium.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
And obviously tomato and
Yeah.
what are the others? There's loads of them. There are loads of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just ways that Americans
And
have
what's
completely
with
butchered.
the Z? What's with the Z?
The Z?
You guys spell everything with a Z.
Yeah, the Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Z and Z. Yeah.
we use S's and they use a lot of Z's in their words.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I only know because I type them on a computer and I have to keep changing them.
You guys spelling color with a U
Microsoft.
and theater
Right.
with an E,
And humor with a U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
which I think is
Color
far superior.
with a
Like,
U.
I used to get like marked off in school in my English classes because I always spelled color with a U because
Yeah.
I think it looks better. And I always got
Color. Well, I noticed when Easy, I guess you said you guys were 500 miles apart, and that caught me off guard because I fully expected to hear kilometers. Like it was that caught me off guard when you said miles.
We're imperial. We're imperial here, mate. We're imperial.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
my bad. Is that in Scotland that you're imperial, or is that in the UK period?
Well, I think that's
UK period. Since you want to go there, UK period.
Okay. So why do you guys drive on the wrong side of the road then?
that's a generation thing.
Yeah.
So
It's a
Troy,
generation thing.
Andre, if you remember Troy that you said called retards evil, Troy just said he just said, "What's up, bruvs?"
Yeah, Troy, I saw you. I heard you. You said it.
Troy calls and busts our balls probably
Yeah.
more than anybody else. He's called and gives a shit about so many things.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh,
I think what he give me, he said the fact that who our favorite rapper was just proves just how white we really are.
Well, he
Would
called
you
me.
say Macklemore?
No, God, no. Actually, I said Childish Gambino is my favorite rapper just because his lyrics are so smart. And he's like, yeah, of course it is.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, we were talking to his other co-host, Trevor.
Trevor, yeah.
And we were talking back and forth. We started talking music and some other things. And he called in. He was like, "Trevor, I ain't never heard him talk like this. And he's talking like he's all white and shit. You guys are trying to get your black cred. Like, what the fuck's going on? This is the weirdest shit I've ever listened to."
Yeah.
Black cred, you know.
Yeah, black cred. And he said Trevor was trying to get his white cred. And yeah, he just gave us both shit.
Yeah. Well, that's what I called into their show this morning.
Black cred.
And they asked who the guest was tonight, and I said, "Well, it's the UK version of you guys. It's basically the UK Two Brothers podcast." So,
But he was giving me shit because
Sure.
I was like, I saw Jay-Z live it's been several years now, and I was like, dude, it's one of the best live shows I've seen. And he was like, man, I've never heard a white boy try to sound more fucking cool than you just did saying you saw Jay-Z. I was like, it's like, fuck you, man.
Please.
yeah, I only know of one rapper from the UK, and he's a very conservative guy called Zuby. That's the only rapper I know from the UK.
Zuby. Never heard of it.
Zuby. Yeah, never heard of him.
Yeah, he's a
I
very.
think he's going to turn around and say Stormzy.
I say he's very conservative. I say he's very much into free speech, and he's not happy about what the left has tried to do with free speech and hamper what people can and can't say. But yeah, he's been on Rogan's podcast.
That's going a bit far. Yeah, it's going a bit too far, actually.
Yeah. Is it that bad over there with what you can and can't get by with, and what we quote and have like called cancel culture over here, where if you say the wrong thing or imply the wrong thing, you're done. Like so.
Yeah, we get the same. We get the same here.
Yeah, it's definitely getting that way, especially in the work environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be.
Yeah.
So what you guys are
careful.
saying is you're not going to share this podcast after it comes out.
Oh no! This podcast is going out. This podcast is going out
So
live
far,
and direct.
so far, it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, no, I'm just
As long as we keep it to this level, then we're okay.
I did.
So
Rubbing his hands easy.
about the Special Olympics.
I did have one question, like a moderately serious one, because you mentioned earlier as far as your parents coming over and not expecting the level of racism they experienced in the UK. And again, I've been there years ago, but I had no idea And I didn't know if it's as prevalent where you guys are now or how it's changed. Because again, this was the fucking 90s. But when I was there, like everybody fucking like, there might have been racisms towards black people, but everybody hated the Pakistani people that were there. Like that was like the mutual thing that like, is that still really prevalent there? I always found it very odd.
It's funny, we always crack a joke about it, but everyone hates the Pakistani shop, Pakistan until they need to use their shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there definitely was a phase where everyone was picking on the Pakistanis. Yeah. I remember I had a mate of mine who was complaining, saying, "Oh, look, they're calling me Paki, but I'm from India. I'm not from Pakistan."
India, yeah.
And I had to tell him they don't care where you come from. They're not really worried about your demographics. They're just trying to have a go at you. So
you like curry and you're brown, but, therefore you're
right.
Yeah, it's I just found that very interesting.
But the reality is, go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think those are all phases.
Yeah.
That came and went, but the black phase, I think, is something that stays.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I think that as the brown people or other people come and get exposed to the racism, they start to realize that if they distance themselves from the black people, they're less likely to
get picked on.
Yeah, to receive so much abuse. So everyone goes through the phase, but the black phase just seems to continue. In other words, to put it in a nutshell, it appears that the darker your skin, the more prejudice and stuff you're likely to experience.
Yeah, well,
so even if you're black but you're light skinned, you're probably going to have a better response.
No, it's for sure. Like here in the States, even if you're a black guy or a black woman, but you act white and you hit that upper middle class or whatever, there's far less discrimination against you than if you're a lower middle class or impoverished or even just regular middle class. So the more white you act or appear or dress or speak, the less you have to deal with issues, and it's, I don't know. It's a very weird dichotomy to me.
Unless you're Muslim.
Yeah, and then that's a whole hourly.
Completely different thing.
No, it's true. Like
it
especially
that Muslims may be the only group that maybe has it. I say has it that your typical conservative white people in the South dislike more than black people.
Yeah,
like as Muslims.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. But that's because of current events, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and then the propaganda that gets pushed on our side.
Of current events. Yeah. So my point is that black people, they're just hated because they're black. There's no... nothing special has happened.
Well, let me ask you, because we've talked about this. Now, why do you think that prevails constantly, like over like hundreds of years now? Like, what is your opinion? Like, why is that?
I think the main thing is this whole concept of white being good and black being evil. I think that plays a huge part in it. I think that I think the darker your skin is, the more you're either hated or feared by white society in the UK. Okay. And that's why if you're black but light skin, you're going to get a better reception than if you're black but dark skin. Okay. The darker your skin is, I mean, even in the Indian society, they've got caste.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the lighter caste, the higher caste, the darker caste, the lower caste. We know in China, in the summertime, they use umbrellas because the darker they are, the less attractive that they are looked upon as.
Perceived,
perceived. I think it's just a worldwide thing.
No, I agree, and that's why I was just kind of curious, like opinion, and that makes sense. And I've also thought that maybe a lot of it comes out of traditionally, like, and mostly because of poverty and remoteness and stuff. But it seems like a big part of Africa developed behind where a lot of the other more populated areas of the earth did, as far as technology and population and things like that, and therefore. The people that were being pulled out was like, oh, they're subhuman because they're primitive. They don't have the level of advancement that we have. Therefore, they're not. I think that plays in and still permeates to a degree. And some of the things I've seen here, and this is all anecdotal. I have no scientific or statistical evidence to back this up. But a lot of what I see now, especially in cities that have much larger black populations and stuff, it's not as much skin based or as much as it's culturalism, like the way that that black families do things. It's fucking weird. It's different. I don't want that to permeate. You know what I mean? Because culturally, the family.
Explain that statement.
Explain yourself. You put yourself in there now.
No, that's fine. Like for instance, just like how. At least here in the South, a lot of black people communicate and hang out, and the tightness of the family and how it's just a much different way that a lot of Southern white people live, and it's considered a threat or different or not as good just because it's weird. They don't expect.
They don't understand it.
Or even interaction, like adult-child. Yeah. And so,
I was going to ask you what do you mean by different? So how are the black guys and the black families in America then different family-wise to the white
I'm speaking more for the South, like from what I've seen, right?
Sure.
And like, so you have...
of course.
Just like from
You
everything.
take hip hop culture, for instance.
Well, hip hop culture, and which basically white people steal all the time. But
steal it,
but
for
even
sure,
like
but-
communication, the way that just with linguistically, how like Black Americans will talk to each other versus how white Americans talk to each other, it's a foreign thing.
Yeah.
And because of that superiority of feeling like, well, that's different than how we're doing it. How we're doing it's better.
Right.
I don't want that in what I have going on. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fear of the unknown, and I think, like you said, the traditional white is good, dark is that even comes out of religion to a large degree.
Yeah.
I think that plays a lot into it.
That's probably where a lot of it stems from.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it too is even subconscious. I mean, you have people that are absolutely overtly consciously racist.
Sure.
And I think just some people, how they're brought up is, well, this is the way that we do things, and this is a threat to how we do things. And I don't know, I'm not articulating very well, but
No, I hear what you're saying.
yeah, and I think some of it
think,
now isn't as intentional as it is programmed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And about the family side of things. No, you said one thing in American about the way they talk to each other. Are you talking about the fact I'm assuming they do. Do the black Americans, do they use the N-word amongst each other and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's not specifically what I was talking to. And I hate the word ebonics because it's stupid. But lack of a better term, just the general language, the slang, the way it's spoken. And I'm not talking specifically about the N-word at all, just general relationships between people.
Sure.
And the language that's used is foreign. Does that make sense? Like it's...
I'm trying to...
Well, yeah, I will, but let me just say this very
please.
quickly then, because our parents came from the West Indies, so they spoke patois is the term. I don't even know if you guys know that term. Mm-hmm. But patois is the language that our parents use, which is basically just broken English.
Broken English. That's right, yeah.
Right. So
It's like pidgin in Hawaii.
The problem is, I don't know, but I can only talk about the country I live in. So in the UK, but I assume that's everywhere. But in the UK, it's not seen as a proper language. So even though it's the language that my parents used, and even though I've been to school, I've got a decent education, if I decide to use the language that my parents used in public, straight away I am deemed as probably less educated.
Yes, that is,
Yes.
yeah.
And that really is unfair.
Sure. Absolutely.
But as a result, that's what happens. The black population, especially my generation, we won't use that. The way we may talk amongst our friends or at home, we won't talk the same at work.
Yep.
Because
With
we'll be
you
judged
guys.
if we do.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
We'll be
put
judged if we do.
that's put much better than what I was trying to say.
Yes.
But that's essentially what I was just the language slang, the way they speak, it's viewed as less educated or whatever. Even though you got the Southern white communities that are in trailer parks talking to each other like,
God, my
"Hey
God.
man, you motherfucker, let's go make some meth and fuck our sisters." Like that's somehow better. I don't understand. It's one of the things that really interests me because we kind of touched on this earlier, but like our emotional, I'm very compartmentalized and separated. So I look at things in pieces. And so it really fascinates me. Like the difference in like racism fascinates the shit out of me just because I don't understand
Right.
how it ties in. And so I always love talking to people with a different perspective. Like we have the two brothers on, and we dig into racism quite a bit. They're both from the South here.
Yeah.
And so in the UK and just those differences, the social reasons why people hate each other, they're so weird and they're so nuanced and they're so layered. I I like to talk about this shit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like asking
To be
questions.
honest, so do I. But I think it's really, I think that as a society, we either fear or dislike anything different.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know.
I mean, I was talking with another podcast and we were talking about aliens and if there are aliens, why they wouldn't come to this country, also to this planet. Yeah. And the conclusion was if they did, we'd probably try to erase them.
Yeah,
we try to kill them.
Yeah.
And that's what my point is that yes, I think that human nature appears to be that anything that's different.
Yep.
We dislike or whatever, and I think that's the problem with black people, that the majority of white people probably don't understand, and because they don't understand, they don't really like or they fear. Right. I mean, we've had this.
What they don't know.
We always have this talk about the police and what's going on in the US.
Right.
Obviously, that's a big topic over here.
Sure.
And
don't feel like you have to hold back by the.
And it seems to me that fear plays a big part.
Yes.
In how the police treat black people.
Yes.
Yep.
They seem to have less patience, and to me, it looks like they fear them more, and as a result, they try to show that they're in control, and they just have no patience with you. And as soon as you don't comply, they're looking to taser you or shoot or whatever.
And the media feeds the shit out of that here too, because their whole job is ratings and sensationalization. And I'm not saying they're exaggerating, but they feed it. You know what I mean? Like the people, because you have the right wing news that they're constantly getting fed whatever confirmations or affirmations they're needing for their belief system, and you have the left wing media that's feeding them what they believe, and it just divides that more and more and more.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be something as far as dealing with police like that, I honestly, for better or for worse, I don't really have to deal with that if I have a run-in with the police.
Right.
But to have that conversation with my sons, especially my oldest son, to say, listen, if you ever run into the police, you just need to comply and be polite, because it's better for them to violate your rights and you be alive and us go for a lawsuit or something later than for you to be dead and us have to go for a lawsuit. And I mean, that's an interesting.
That you have to say that is scary.
That's what I was going to say.
Exactly.
That is an interesting and insane conversation that you have to have. Like from my perspective, is like, because I don't have that experience. The only experience with that I have is seeing my wife and kids have to deal with that, especially my oldest son. But it's a crazy thing.
Your oldest son is a sexy ass black kid, man. He's a good looking kid.
So my oldest,
his oldest is Gabe, and he's a fucking pussy killer. He's such a good looking kid.
My oldest son typically he's typically here with us, and he works the cameras for us. And he's gone to a friend's wedding this evening, so he's not here with us. But he's a good looking kid, for sure. He's a good looking guy.
Takes after his dad.
No, well, yeah. So whatever, take that as you want. But no,
I wasn't trying to get off.
No. I'm just saying, like, it is like I found myself having those Well, he was pulled over by police 3 years ago, let's say, approximately, before he came back home from college. Mm-hmm. He was leaving work. He was leaving work at like 1 o'clock in the morning one night, headed home, and he got pulled over. And I think a tail light was out on his car or something like that. But he got pulled over, and he was nervous. He was nervous, and the officer was white and said, "Hey, is everything okay? Are you on anything? Are you drunk or whatever? Because you seem very nervous." And he said to the officer, he's like, "Nope, I'm just leaving work, but the media is not portraying you guys in a very good light, so I am a little nervous."
Did your son say that?
Yes, he said that to the officer. He said, the media does not portray you guys very well right now.
That's absolutely
so I am nervous. And the officer told him, and this was an instance of a good cop. And the guy said, if there's nothing wrong, you're not high or drunk or whatever, then you're fine. Don't worry about it. Just all I need to do is see your license and registration, whatever, and then we'll be good. And he just told him, get your tail light fixed and head on home. Yeah. And that was, but that's
unfortunately doesn't always happen that way.
It doesn't always happen that way. I would, if you listen to the media, it never happens that way, but it definitely doesn't happen that way all the time, for sure.
Well,
but it's just amazing. It's amazing and scary. And that's one thing that as a guy living in Britain, we never come across that. We don't have that. We may not like the police, but we don't fear them the way that the black you guys, or well, the people in the US have to fear.
Like your son.
You don't have
Your
to.
son fear your son. Yeah, and you fear the police for your son.
Yeah, but your officers
Because what
also
might
have a
happen-
much different training program than ours
Sure,
does, and most of them
absolutely.
don't carry firearms. So there's, which is
That's why. That's
not
the main reason.
not
That's the main
necessarily
reason.
a bad thing at all. I mean, because it's a difference, in those things. But
Well, I mean, I work with a guy who's 4 years older than I am, black guy, and he was pulled over on our interstate really close to work one morning. He was driving too fast. He was pulled over because he was speeding. At the time, they were doing drug enforcement up and down the interstate through there. And the officer said, hey, we're doing, you were speeding, but we're also doing drug searches around here. So
bullshit.
I'm going to get the dog out to search your car. And his response, while his thought behind it is fine, but his response, even as a white guy, would have never responded like this. Even though I probably could do it and get by with it, like I would have never responded. But his response was, "No, the fuck, you're not going to get a dog and search my car." And it's like, are you insane, man? Like, for right or for wrong, you're setting yourself up for failure from the start. Like, and they cuffed him and they set him on the side of the interstate. They searched his
They're
car.
going to win.
Right. And I think in the George Floyd case that some of Chauvin's issue was that you had all of those people on the sidewalk telling him to get off the guy, and he just dug in and was like, "You're not my boss. You can't tell me what to do." And unfortunately, somebody died because of it. And thank God or Allah or whoever you want to think that he was convicted this week. But
actually, that brings me to a question.
Let's just hold that horse on the conviction part. He got convicted, but is he going to go to jail?
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Maybe he'll get raped a bunch first.
He will at least go to jail. He will at least go to jail until his appeals go through. He's got to go to jail until then. So
I do have a question though, and this is a serious
Okay.
one because I'm curious about it. And this is for anybody that followed into it. So with the George Floyd case, not speaking on the convictions being right or wrong, right? That's separate. Like I think we would all agree that he should have been convicted on all accounts. Do you think it was a fair trial though?
I didn't get to see a lot of it, but the way my wife talked, it seemed to be all right.
Because they're very different things. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we didn't. I didn't see the trial itself, but I mean, you asked. But to my mind, you ask, is it a fair trial? I think if the idea of the trial is either he's going to be found guilty or innocent. That's the idea of the trial. No matter what happened in between, he's either be found guilty or innocent. If he was found innocent, I just don't see how that could have been a fair trial.
Right.
Sure.
He's found guilty, so I don't know what happened during the trial, but it sounds to me that the verdict was correct.
Right.
Sure.
No,
Absolutely.
and I agree. What I just had this thought earlier today, actually, that while I believe the convictions were absolutely correct, and he got all of it, but I feel like no matter what the evidence or arguments would have been, at that point he was guilty from the get-go, which I agree with.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is any way to present a different argument. Like the bias, in a good way, and again, I'm not saying bias in a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But the bias was already to the point that he was guilty one way or the other. It didn't matter. So in the sense of ferrying out and the jurors hearing,
Sure.
this is one part, this is the other part, and make a decision, all they were going to hear is one part. Because it was blatant.
Yeah,
But that's what I mean by fairness and not good, right, or
but
wrong.
I guess if you kneel on the guy's neck and you see that there's cameras there, and you continue to kneel on his neck, then you set yourself up for an unfair trial, really.
And I'm not arguing. Yep. And the reason I ask that, because again, I feel like if that type of shit's on video, there's no fucking trial. It's like, God damn it, you're guilty. Like it's an obvious thing.
And I'm a fan of that type of situation. But the only thing I could say about that trial, because my wife watched most of that trial, she's home all day, every day right now, and I saw highlights from the day every time I would come home from work. And the only thing that was remotely the only thing to me that seemed like you could possibly sway a jury with is when they showed footage from the sidewalk that just a bystander was taking, and they showed the same time body cam footage at the same time, and you could tell they lined them up together and played them, and you could hear the conversations going on lining up, so you knew it was filmed at the same time. The only thing was from one of the other officers' body cam footage, they made an argument that the knee did not look like it was on the neck. To me, it still looked like it was on the neck, but their argument was it actually looks like it's more on the shoulder blade, and so he shouldn't be found guilty. And like, whatever.
Clutching at straws, man.
They are clutching at straws, absolutely. But all it takes is getting one person in that jury to hear that.
Of course,
yeah.
Exactly.
That's the only even remotely compelling evidence that I heard in that whole trial.
And the whole reason I brought that up, right, is because one of the things that everybody's mistake is we have this justice system and you're not, guilty until proven innocent, or you're innocent until proven guilty. All
that's
that
only
shit.
if you're white.
Exactly. And I know it's true.
Yeah.
And I feel like
is,
this was one of the first times, and largely due to media coverage, that like he didn't get acquitted of like half the charges and get like 10 years. And so like, I think in this case, that bias was a good thing is my point. Like it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't necessarily a fair.
Well, I don't know. I mean, for me, my thought on it is the fact that there was cameras everywhere, and the fact that the emergency services themselves called the police on him.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, the cameras were, the thing was, cameras are everywhere.
Yep.
Literally everywhere regarding that situation. There was no.
What's interesting for me,
his argument would have been weak no matter what he opened his mouth and said.
Exactly.
It was weak.
Again, there was no point in the trial. Is my point? Like that's the American judicial system, but in those instances, because fair to me indicates both sides get an equal say that are evaluated accordingly. There was no side to speak on, so by that definition, it's not a fair trial. And I don't understand how you can sleep at night being a defense attorney for half the assholes, but like I was happy to see it because usually, you get a black dude with a block of weed in the car with an intent to distribute that's in jail for life, whereas you get some dude that's fucking kids in his basement that gets 10 years. Yeah. And fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I really didn't have a purpose in that. I was just curious on my thoughts.
Yeah. But I understand what you're saying exactly. You're basically saying he didn't really stand a chance to begin with, which is probably true. If it's worldwide news, it was going to be very difficult for him to, for a jury to find him innocent, because obviously they would have probably all have heard about it before, probably have seen the videos. Yeah. They would have probably had preconceptions before they even went into that room. So he probably didn't stand a chance.
Right.
But for me, what was also interesting is that he probably knew that guy was dead before the ambulance even came here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
But yet he continued to kneel on his neck or on his shoulder, whatever you want to call it. But again, I'm guessing he had no choice, because once he realized that guy wasn't moving anymore, his only other option would have been to get up.
Yep.
And if he was to get up, and then everyone watching would have seen that the guy was dead. And then who knows what
amazed me with that video?
Pretend.
What amazed me with the video though was the piousness, like the point where he put his hands on his hips and just blatantly was like, "There's nothing you can fucking do."
I looked at the people
like that complete disregard. That's what I was like, "Fuck this asshole."
Yeah, and that's why I say I think this guy, had everyone on the sidewalk not reacted the way they did. And it's not their fault, so please don't take it that way.
I know what you're going to say.
But I think that he would have given in and gotten up earlier. But I think because everyone on the sidewalk was saying, get off of him, I really think he took the stance of, I'm in charge, you don't get to tell me what to do, I'll stay here as long as I want. And because of that, somebody died.
The power that he wielded has killed the guy.
Yep. Yes.
And him being belligerent.
By his choice.
By his choice, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Him showing that he's in control. That's what I was saying earlier on.
Yeah. Well, him being in control has killed a guy.
When all that came out almost a year ago, I mean, that was one of the first times that Steven and I really kind of got.
I don't get riled up about.
But that's one of the first times we got serious on this podcast. Like it was, we held it till the end of the episode to talk about it because we knew what it was likely to do. But like we were both like just ill, like just mad, just fucking like what? Who are you to think that you have the authority or the power or the right to do some shit like this? It's fucking insane to me.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Look, I'm here in the UK, and we get video clips like that from the US all the time. When I say
regularly,
I say like that, I'm talking about guys who there was one I saw recently when a guy was meant to be on a run, and I think it was a dad and his son who came out in a truck, and they had a little tussle, and they shot him.
Ahmad Aubrey, wasn't it? Ahmad Aubrey, you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Guys were shot in the back and stuff like that while they were running. The difference with this one is that it was close up, it was extended, and we could hear his cries. So for me, that's what made this one different. I mean, I'm sure if we was to speak to black guys in America and over here, first thing they'll say to you, "Oh, look, this was one of many. This isn't the first. This really won't be the last." But the fact that we were able to see it so close up, and to hear the guy crying for help, crying for his mum, some scary stuff, man.
And it was the most blatant, because he was looking at the fucking cameras and was like, "Fuck you guys!" Like there was no hiding, covering up, like you said, distance. It was like a blatant disregard for anything humane.
Well, the thing is, once you
the hand on the hips, it's the hand on the hips that got me. The hand on the hips really got me.
But once you have a guy in handcuffs and cuffs on the feet, no matter how much they struggle, they're gonna. Even if you just take your hands off of them, they're going to fall down again in a moment. Right. And you just pick them up and get them in the car or whatever. Like, there's no need for the excessive force or whatever. But the Ahmaud Arbery thing, that's insane, because that's not police officer. That's just two people in the neighborhood running a guy down and gunning him down in the street. It's insane.
Yeah. But anyway, scary, bro. It's scary.
It is. But the last thing I'll say about
we don't get this. We don't get the wrong being in the wrong part of town kind of thing that you guys get over there.
Yeah.
We don't get that a lot over here.
Now, I will say, and the last thing I'll say about the whole Chauvin thing, I really do hope he gets raped in the asshole by the biggest black cocks in whatever prison he's in. 100%.
That was
like the biggest black guy. They called it Tiny. Tiny.
Yeah, and just right at like full on puppet porn, man, right there.
We had to go there, didn't we? We had to go there.
But I look at like anybody that's convicted for like if you get I don't know, don't even start on child molesters. Fuck those assholes.
Sure.
But they're all pieces of shit. But see, I'm a really, like, lack of a better way to put it, I say I'm a realist, but I'm pretty much a nihilist. Like, I feel like this world's shitty. Nothing matters. In 100 years, nobody's going to remember who the fuck you are or me are. So really, your actions, what the fuck ever. But we're all in the same shitty place. So if you're kind to someone else and their existence is a little bit better, then that's worth doing. Right? You know, like in the end,
that makes sense.
None of this fucking matters. But like in the short term, like if we get along and like I can be kind to you and show you kindness, that makes your existence a little better. If you do the same to me, then you know, we're all a little less fucking miserable in the giant shit ball flying through space. Like that's kind of how I view everything.
Well, I don't know that it's a ball. I think it's more like a plate.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, we're not in space. It's a flat. It's a flat plane. The universe revolves around us.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. With an ice wall.
And I didn't mean to get super serious. No, I was just curious.
Have you guys heard about the at George Floyd Square there in Minneapolis? Have you heard about the sign with the rules for white people yet? Have you not heard about this?
What?
There's a sign there with rules for white people at George Floyd. So right there where he was killed by Chauvin, like they've called this area George
And that's
Floyd
all the time we have today? No.
No. He's called this area George. They've named this area George Floyd Square. And there's a sign up with rules for white people that are in that area. Have you heard about this yet? You have not heard, I'm assuming you guys probably haven't. So I pulled it up here because I heard about it the other day. But it is one of the things on the list says, decenter yourself and come to listen, learn, mourn, and witness. Remember, you are here to support, not be supported. Another one says, be mindful of whether your volume, pace, and movements are supporting or undermining your efforts to decenter yourself.
I was good up until that one.
Seek to contribute to the energy of the space rather than drain it.
Okay, good.
Bring your own process.
I don't get it. Why are these not to everybody? Why are these to white people? I'm lost.
You're allowed to ask that question. We're not. No,
because I feel like legitimately, like, it's we had this giant pendulum argument. I don't want to get back into that,
Sure.
but like, I mean, there's a giant pushback against a lot of white action, and it's not based on we all need to do this. It's like, you guys have been the fucking problem. You need to fix this shit. And so there's a little bit of exclusivity there that we might have these issues, but these issues don't matter because you're affecting way more people with your issues than we are with ours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I feel like that's
Yep.
and that's just my opinion, but
Well, the next rule is bring your own process to other white folks so that you will not harm black and indigenous people of color.
Wow.
Let's see here.
And where is this? Where can this be found?
It's on a
Minneapolis,
sign.
George
It's
Floyd
on a
Square.
sign posted in George Floyd Square. I'm reading this
Oh,
off.
it's on a
of-
signpost.
Yeah, I'm
It's
reading
on a
this
signpost.
from
Wow.
the New York Post. Is
Wow.
where the publication I'm reading from. It says, here's another one. Let's see, I think there's a misspelling here. If you whiteness folks doing problematic things, speak up with compassion to take the burden of black folks and our siblings of color whenever appropriate. So there's obviously some kind of misspelling somewhere in there.
it's a speak out against your own that are
Sure.
fucking shit up. Yeah.
Seek to engage rather than escalate so that it can be a learning moment rather than a disruption. There's nothing wrong with that.
Set of rules, huh? Set of rules.
Yeah.
Suggested.
Rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting to me
What happened to talking?
right?
My wife and I and my sister last night were talking about this, that there's a big thing in this country that you hear people like, we need to have an honest dialogue about racism in America. We hear that a lot in here. The problem is that most people saying we need to have an honest dialogue aren't willing to have an honest dialogue. They want everyone else to shut the fuck up while they tell you what's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's not
Yeah.
a dialogue.
That's the problem.
Most people want to have
Yeah,
a
it's a
monologue.
volatile subject.
Most people on both sides want to have a monologue.
Yeah.
But until a couple
Yeah.
of people are willing to sit down and actually two people talk back and forth, whether you get heated or not, but talk back and forth, there's not going to be an honest dialogue. Yeah. And when we want to, well, I was reading something to my sister last night because she's got young kids, and I'll pull it up here quickly.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm
ahead.
about to piss my pants.
I
I'm going
figured
to
you
put these
were.
down. I will be back in 2 seconds. You guys continue without me.
Sure. So I was reading something last night to my sister, and it was talking about a cartoon called Bluey. Bluey, 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 and it's dogs. They're dogs, and in this cartoon or whatever. And they were saying somebody was making the complaint, and I think this came from maybe from the Guardian, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it was saying that there are not enough poor, transgendered, handicapped, or dogs of color represented in this cartoon for kids.
Did you say dogs of color?
Dogs of color, yes. That was one of the things, yes. And then I saw another thing that said, this is from The Guardian for sure, and the opinion piece is called Why Celebrating Mixed Race Beauty Has a Problematic Side. And then, is your sexual desire for black people racist? Meaning, are you sexually attracted to black people? If you're white, if you're sexually attracted to black people, are you actually racist because you're sexually attracted to black people?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Wow.
That exactly, for fuck's sake. That's the thing. That's my thing. Is like, how will there ever be things like that are pointed out are the reasons why real issues of race aren't being handled right now.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
it's an insane thing. So what I told them is like a cartoon called Bluey.
I heard.
Okay, yeah.
You were talking very loud, so.
Well, I had to make sure you heard while you're pissing.
No. But along those lines, I mean, I feel like the reason I feel like a lot of racial discussions get lost, right, is because, and this is across the board, but specifically with racism, is you have the black community that needs to be heard, so they're yelling really fucking loud because they need to be heard. And then you have the white community that's like, you don't need to yell that loud. We can just talk about this shit.
Sure.
And so they're essentially like, until you quit yelling, we're not going to talk. And that's fucking wrong because they're only yelling because you won't let them talk. Sure. So that's the big fucking clash. That and white people are a threat. And this isn't with white folks specifically. This is culturally across fucking time. Whoever's in power doesn't want to lose power, and anything rising up against said power is threatened by that power and wants to suppress it. Because truly, and we've talked about this before, I believe no one actually wants equality, because equality is an ugly thing. Everybody wants an advantage. That's human nature. That has nothing to do with race. That has nothing to do with anything else other than being a human. And I want to be above and better than the other people around me. And people gang together that are like-minded. And because white people have absolutely raped every other fucking culture in the country, or the world for that matter, it's like, okay, we're sticking together and we're not letting any of these other assholes in the club. We'll let the ones that act like us in a little bit, and we'll let them kind of hang out some because they're okay, but fuck all these other people.
Well, there's a professor of psychology in Canada
and if they
that
can
says,
swim.
there's a professor of psychology in Canada that says people don't want equality of they say they want equality of outcome, but that's not what they say they want equality of opportunity, but that's not what they want. They want equality of outcome, and you can't have that.
Right.
You can only have equality of opportunity if everyone gets together. But I mean, equality of outcome, there's no such thing.
But again, whoever's in power wants to keep power. That's
true.
Human fucking
absolutely.
nature.
Yeah.
Because true equality would be fucking ugly. Like it really would be. Like if everybody was exactly treated the same, then your talents over my talents wouldn't fucking matter. The things you excel at would be taken away from you, and the advantages I would be given because of my lack of talent would put us on par. And that's a shitty thing.
Yeah.
Like you should be able to excel based on the things you're capable of, based on your mind, based on your skills. And I should be able to excel in the ways that I do. But if you wipe all that shit out completely, then we all fucking suffer together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
See, the problem is, I think black people think that's what equality is. Black people think equality is when you're judged solely on what you're able to do. So that's what black people think equality is. But I'm not sure that everyone believes that's what equality is.
Well, I think truly that's what equality is, but there's definitely you definitely have the people out there, and a lot of them are in power that don't look at it that way.
Well, the thing is but nobody looks at it that way, because there's very much, especially where we're at now, it's like, well, you have that and I don't. That's not fair. It's not equal. They confuse fair and equal, right? Sure. Those are two very different things. Fairness is not equality, and equality is not fairness. And I think what people really want is fairness. They want things to be as fair for you. The advantages that you have are the same as the advantages that I have. That way we can both excel in the ways that we fucking excel. And so that to me is fairness. And equality is when no matter where our skill set lies, no matter who we are, we're put in an equal place. And to me, that's not as healthy. That's my opinion.
All right, a quick question. Yeah. I'm not quite sure, I can't remember what the term is, but here in the UK, we're having a lot of scenarios where companies who they realize that within the company, for instance, there may be 70% or 80% white people, 20% black people, but they know that the demographics in that area is 50-50.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is, okay, so obviously we've got a problem here. Something's not right here. The area says that there's 50-50 between blacks and whites, but yet in our company, we have 80% white people. So what we're going to do now, we're going to try and get a true reflection of the society around us. So we're going to employ more black people.
Right.
So then that means what? That means if two people come for a job, and if they're equal, no, I'll say it as it is. If two people come for a job, and do you think the white person is better than the black person, but the black person is able to do the job, you should give that job to the black person.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that right? What is that?
They call that equal opportunity here, is what they call it. And
what's your thoughts on that?
So
no, actually, I think
affirmative action.
Affirmative action is what they call it here.
Affirmative action. Yeah.
And so like we have a little bit of a different opinion on this, I think.
Sure.
We're similar. But like in an ideal world, in a utopia, you're based on your qualifications, right? And that's how
that's why I asked the question.
But I understand, because a lot of it, because of the majority white communities, like people want to stick to their own. You know what I mean? Like, so we want the boy. Like it's the same way I should say the same way. That's the wrong way to put it. But it's similar to how like you'll have a company that's 90% men and they won't let any women into the club. The purpose of it is to prevent that from occurring, right? So in practice, or in theory, it's a great fucking thing. In practice, sometimes it offsets the quality or the qualifications of the people that should be there. It's kind of like fucking unions here in the States. They were made to keep people out from working in shitty conditions and getting paid 10 cents an hour. But in certain areas, they do more harm than good. It just depends on the situation. So in theory, it's fucking great. But in practice, because people are imperfect and it, we all suck. Yeah. Like shit doesn't always play out the way it's meant to play out.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair answer.
That's why if I were a hiring, if I were a hiring manager, I had a job opening, I just want to see resumes with no names on them. I don't want to see a name.
Yeah, that's what a lot of companies are doing now.
Yeah, I don't want to see because I don't want to know if it's male or female. I don't want to know if the name sounds like someone that may be white or maybe black or maybe Middle Eastern or whatever. I just want to.
A lot of companies are doing that. Just that.
Yep. I just want to see a resume and then pick a couple, 2 or 3 candidates based on their qualifications and then interview them, because you do have to actually talk to someone to find out if they will be a good fit for the team. You do have to get a personality. Personality-wise. But to pick my top 2 or 3 candidates, I don't want to know their name. I don't want to know their gender. I don't want to know what God they pray to or anything.
As soon as you start looking at personality over qualification, then what you're doing now is you're now able to find someone who fits your criteria. So in other words, if I'm a black guy from the Bronx or somewhere, and I went to some shitty little uni, but I have the qualifications, and I've got another white guy who went to a university that you guys recognize, and then there's a good chance you're going to give him the job.
Yep.
I think in most cases that is the case, but that's also why I want to try to mitigate as much as possible by strictly making sure that everyone there is on at least a relatively equal qualification field at that point.
But I think
I don't know that you can ever completely take prejudice out of anything. But there's also a difference. There's also a difference in prejudice and racism.
Yeah. In a nutshell, if a company has 70% of white people and 30% black people, and you're in an area where it's 50-50,
sure.
How do you think then that should be resolved? How do you think that, or do you think it's just how it is?
I don't think you should take race into consideration at all. I think it should be the most qualified person, regardless of race or personality or anything, the most qualified person.
So then you could end up in a scenario where you're in a company that's in an area that's 50-50, but you still have 80% white people and 20% black people.
So what I would say to you is this. Let's take the fire department, for instance. They come when there's a fire and they rescue people in the building, right? Do you want a representation of race or gender based on the area, or do you want the strongest, baddest ass motherfuckers on the fire department that you can get? Exactly.
Okay, I've got an answer for that. My answer to that is that I want the baddest. But are we then saying that there are no black people? There's only 10% of black people. There are 10% of black people.
Because maybe the strongest and baddest people are black. Most of my neighborhood that I live in is white for the most part. My wife told me the other day she's only noticed a couple of other black people aside from what's at our house. And my thing is, I don't care if the local fire department that would come to us, I don't care if they're all black or all Middle Eastern or all Native American or whatever. I just want the strongest and bravest and most knowledgeable firefighters available there to come to my house. I don't care if it represents the community or not.
They want a fair crack at the whip. That's the problem.
No, I understand that.
If you've got companies that are 50.
Sure, but what I'm saying is but what I'm saying is from my perspective, everyone has a fair crack at the whip. It's all based on who's the qualified person.
Okay, so then what we're saying then, if you're in a company and there are 80% white people and 20% black people, but the actual area is 50-50. What you're saying is that for whatever reason, black people are just not qualified in that area.
I'm saying
it's almost like you're saying then that black people are not as clever as white people.
No,
and that's
what
where
I'm saying is
this
that
is so good.
What I'm saying is that if the company is if it's my company and I'm running it the way I'm talking about, and I happen to have 80% white people and 20% black people
in an area that's 50-50,
right? Then what I'm saying is the people that are applying for those jobs are 80% white and 20% black. If it's my company that I'm running, but I'm saying if it's my company that I'm running.
You don't think that maybe, just maybe, your criteria that you're using, the way that you're using to employ people is somehow flawed? You don't think that could be a possibility?
Until I'm in that situation, it would be hard for me to say that I can't be that there's not possible. I am absolutely 100% open that I have flaws in me when it comes to something like that. And that's why I would never want to be the sole person making that decision.
I will say I think it's much more nuanced than that, and you're giving anybody a disadvantage by trying to limit them to those two criteria.
Sure.
Like, it's telling, absolutely, right? But we all have all kinds of bias and prejudice that go outside of race. It's like, oh, this guy's wearing these color clothes. I prefer that over the color clothes these guys wear. Some of that can be culturally motivated. Some of that can be linguistically. Some of that can be the background I grew up in. I relate more to this type of person. And so, yeah, it absolutely can be racially.
Hairstyles, the work.
Yeah, and it absolutely can be racially. And a lot of that can be boiled down to race, right? Because there's a certain type of stereotype that fits with a certain demographic of black people, just like there are for white people, just like there are for Indian people. And so my bias might be, if you fall within the confines of those particular stereotypes, I might pick another black man over you because of the way he presents himself, because that feeds into the bias I already have. And so it's not necessarily always purely racial as much as it is a subconscious bias of how we're fucking brought up in whatever demographic we're from. So to me, it's very nuanced. Sometimes it's blatant, absolutely. And I don't think there's any easy answers. It's like coming up with an answer for homelessness or how to end racism or how to do any of this shit. Everything, like, you can break it down to X and Y, but in reality, there's a billion fucking nuances in between, because people think with their fucking emotions more than they think with logic. And that is why people fuck shit up all the goddamn time. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I love the way he says it. Yeah, people fuck shit up all the time.
They do.
Well, they do. Yeah.
Our humans are inherently destructive. It doesn't matter. Like, if you have, and they're always going to find something to pick on, right? Like I said, if white people are the minority, they're going to fucking pick on minorities. If it's only white people, they're going to find something wrong with a group of those white people to fucking shit on. And that's why I was alluding to earlier, when you had even the hierarchy of in Asian culture, in Hispanic culture, even in black culture, at least here in the States. I've heard like lighter skinned black people are more times hated on more than darker skinned, vice versa. And so, like, as humans, we're always looking for a way to be superior to someone else, because that makes us feel special, and that makes us feel like there's some higher purpose to what we do. And we use that shit to justify so many atrocities, because it makes us feel like we're above the people that we're against.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Yep.
Goddamn right it does. Oh no, we got super fucking serious.
We did, but still, it's a great conversation. It's a great conversation.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Bless white Jesus and his long blonde hair.
That's right.
Whoa! Here we go.
Standing right beside white Santa Claus.
Oh shit!
We've had the Brad Pitt looking Jesus.
Yeah, we've had that.
We have too. It's so funny to me, and it's true. You go to any church here in the South, like in Tennessee, and they almost have the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus on the walls. Like, you guys realize that he was from, like, the Middle East, right? He looks like those guys that Jesus looked a lot like the guys that bombed the World Trade Center.
Right.
You need to kind of accept that.
He was just yoked, He was just freaking yoked, man.
Oh my God.
So
our generation had a big problem with that. Our parents followed Christianity and all those sort of things, and my generation refused to.
We weren't buying for that one.
For the most part, as far as Christianity goes over there, is it Catholic with your families and or is it?
Well, my family is Catholic, so yeah, I was brought up.
Mine was C of E. I was
Yeah, I brought up with
Church of England.
Yeah.
I've read not too long ago that really, especially in the UK and parts of Europe, like other than the staunchly Catholic people, like it's much less as influential and part of the culture as it is here still.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Even the Catholics. Yeah. I mean, all religions are suffering now. I mean, we bring up our kids to think for themselves and question things. So when you then tell them to believe in a religion, or even, dare I say it, to believe in a God. Yeah. Kids, younger generation, they want to question those things. So whereas our parents would have told us to take that leap of faith. I remember asking a preacher when I was younger about proof, and he basically told me I need to take that leap of faith. In other words, I don't have any answers. You just have to believe what I'm saying.
Believe me.
Right. Yeah. And what they say to us, and what they say to us in the South is, you just got to have faith, brother.
Yep.
You just got to have faith. Some things you just ain't meant to understand. That's what they say to us here.
Because his ways are higher than our ways.
That's it. Yeah, his ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. That's what they say to us here. I remember asking someone one time in church, as an adult, I said, the free will thing doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Because if God knows everything, if he knows everything and he's already decided it before we're born, then do I really have free will? If he's already decided it and he already knows what's going to happen, do I really have free will?
Well, that depends on if you're a Calvinist.
Well, do I really have free will? And that's what I was told. It's like, brother, there's just some things you're not supposed to understand. And I'm like, okay.
Indeed. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Just
appreciate you.
That's
See, you know how that was explained to me? Is because God's omnipotent and all-knowing. From every decision you make, he knows all of the outcomes.
Sure.
He just allows you to choose which one.
And I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
That's a much better answer than some things you're just not supposed to understand.
It's still bullshit.
That's just a fancy way of talking down to someone and saying, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here.
Yeah. It's really like I tell you what, God knows you have an infinite number of options.
Sure.
And you pick
He doesn't know what you're going to choose, but he knows what the outcome is.
But you don't pick that one that he has in mind. He's fucking puppet fisting your asshole.
That's it, yeah.
You know, and it's like, come on, man. It's like, how about, it's like,
I get it.
It's like being in high school with a girlfriend, like, what's she thinking? I don't know. What should I do? All I want to do is see your titties.
Right.
You know,
that's exactly Oh, God. So,
on that note,
completely off any of the topics we've talked to today. Completely off any of the topics we talked to tonight. Are you guys into Formula One at all?
I am, of course. Yep.
You are? Yep. Who do you root for?
Who do you reckon?
Who do you reckon?
I
Exactly.
hope,
Who do you reckon?
I
Agassi.
absolutely hope that it's the same person that
Andre
I'm rooting
Agassi.
for. I absolutely hope it's the same person that I'm rooting for. Yes.
I root for
Lando Norris. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. It's Lewis Hamilton.
I'm a black guy from the UK who used to watch Formula One. Never saw anybody there that looked anything like me.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden,
100%.
And all of a sudden, I've got a black guy in there who not only looks like me, but he's running
He's won it 7 times. Yeah, he's running shit.
That's what I was going to say.
Why would I not support him?
It's got to feel really good to know that if he can win the world championship this year, that he's the record holder. That's got to feel
exactly.
good. I've been a Lewis Hamilton fan for years, and ever since his first appearance on Top Gear years ago, I've been a Lewis Hamilton fan. But I've only really gotten into Formula One the last few years, and my wife is super into Formula One this year. And she hates most people that aren't Lewis Hamilton, and she loves Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, I just want.
It's funny you should say that because exactly. Lewis Hamilton is really the real reason why I watch Formula One. I'm not gonna lie, and not just because he's black, but also for real. I never used to watch it that much before, but not just because
I watched it before.
The guy is entertaining as well. He says the right things when he's being interviewed. When he wins, he's always talks about the factory and the team.
Yeah,
but most importantly of all, he always pulls it out the bag when he needs to. He makes Formula One interesting to me. He makes He makes what can be a mediocre sport entertaining.
It's amazing what he's able to accomplish.
He shows. Yeah. He's a good getaway driver.
He's absolutely great.
I don't care what you guys say. Eric Cantona was the best Formula One racer that's ever been.
Off. Steven cares nothing about sports. He cares nothing about sports at all. Like, he's not a sports guy. I like sports. He's not a sports guy.
I'm just impressed that he knows who Eric Cantona is.
Motherfucker, I was in Manchester at the height of his fucking prime, whatever the hell it was.
Of his supremacy.
Yeah. I got to go to a couple games. It was the height of
when he turned up at Manchester United, he was running shit.
Yeah,
he was running everything.
Yeah,
he was king.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm dropping my fucking British cred.
So, back to Lewis Hamilton Formula 1. Do you know who Willie T. Ribbs is?
Yeah.
I don't.
He's a black racing driver from back in the day.
Yes.
Back in the 70s, wasn't it?
80s,
Yeah.
I think 80s into the 90s. He tried to get into
Did he ever win anything?
He tried to get into Formula One, and because he was black, he wasn't really allowed. He was allowed to test in Formula One, and then they wouldn't let him be an actual driver. He's the first black guy to race Indy.
Is that real?
No, it's real. It's real. Yeah, it's real. It's real.
They wouldn't let him.
It's true.
Go on Netflix.
What do you mean they wouldn't let him? Of course he wouldn't let him.
I don't know if it's in UK Netflix or if you'd have to use a VPN to do the US Netflix. But there's a documentary called Uppity.
Yeah.
It's called Uppity. You
That's
should watch
right,
the documentary
it's called Uppity,
Uppity.
yeah.
It's insane.
Called what?
Uppity. 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 Yes.
Yeah.
Because
See, as in.
Yeah.
because
Uppity, yeah,
because
as
all
in-
the people
yeah, as
that
in Uppity, yeah.
because all the people that didn't like it.
Please, man. No, come on.
It is all
They
the people.
could've tried something else.
No, he wanted
Andre,
it.
seriously, it's
He wanted it to be
on, go
called Uppity N-word, but the people that were making the documentary were like, we'll never be able to sell it with that title. Because that's what all the people that didn't like it called it.
Oh my
Didn't
God,
like
it's
him,
there.
they called
You're
him.
right. It's there.
I'm telling you. You should watch that documentary. Because Willie T. Ribbs paved the way for a lot of people like Lewis Hamilton or whatever to be able to get into Formula One and racing.
Never even heard of it, brother.
He's still alive today. He lives in Texas.
Yeah. It was a sacrifice.
That's right.
Who said that? Who said that?
That was my
superb,
and
mate.
that was my callback to the beginning of the episode.
That was superb.
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a choice, mate. Well, not a sacrifice, a
That was
choice.
superb,
Yeah.
mate. Come on. Stephen has no idea of the arguments we've had over this whole choice sacrifice thing.
I would love to sit in and find out some of the things you guys argue over and really try to pick a side to argue
Listen
against.
to their goddamn episodes.
No, I will. I'm saying I would love to argue with them, but anyway.
No, it's funny talking about you guys.
We're gonna have to make that happen one day, man.
You guys talking about
Yeah.
y'all's dynamic is actually very similar to ours. Joey preps and he gets everything ready. I just show the fuck up and start talking. Like that's 90% of our dynamic here. I come in cold every time.
Yeah. And I have to
All
just
right.
take whatever side he doesn't want. Like, if I let him pick his side, and then I'm like, all right, I'll take the other
Dare I
one.
say it easy, but that's roughly
What's that?
the dynamics that we have. Because normally, Easy will say what angle he wants to go, and then I'll take the opposite angle.
There you go.
And then I'll find an argument, and I'll push that argument, and I'll push it hard,
There you go.
whether or not I believe it or not.
There are sometimes we have listeners that they think we are having all-out war. And we're actually fine with each other. But they're like they'll give feedback the following week and say, "Oh, Andre was this and Andre was that," and we're like, "Really?
Yeah.
Didn't even realize."
As soon as the mics turn off, it's like it never happened. Honestly, you just had a good time. That was
Yeah,
Exactly.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But even during the debate, because we're still running jokes and bantering during the debates. But so we'll have segments where we go a bit hard. Then Easy will say something and we'll laugh about it.
Yeah.
And then
We
bang,
had
we've got-
we one of the ones we did. One of the early ones we did was about should Idris Elba play James Bond?
Black
That
man,
was
yeah.
fiery.
Should have Black Man.
Yeah,
James
that was
Bond.
fiery.
Speaking of
Yeah,
Idris
so I
Elba,
argue Black Man-
And yes, he
argue Black man
should.
shouldn't be.
Just to
absolutely,
solve that argument.
I love
Idris
Idris Elba.
he should.
Yes. But speaking of Idris Elba, I saw a news article recently that said Idris Elba is not black enough and shouldn't be heralded as a great, a person to look up toward. Absolutely, I saw this article.
I saw. It was regards to Luther, because
Yes,
you know why,
that's it. It
Andre?
was Luther.
You ready for this bit? Because he doesn't eat curry, goat, and rice.
Yeah.
You don't see me eating
when I hear them statements, I ignore them. From as far as I'm concerned, they're just statements that try to undermine any black man that's doing anything constructive.
No.
Yeah.
Hold on. This was a black woman that said there's some.
Even if it was a black woman. Even if it was a black woman.
I know. Yeah, of course, it's bollocks. It's absolute shit.
Yeah.
He is a sexy ass man.
The same
Yes, he
one,
is.
yeah, I saw the same one. I was like,
You probably go, what does that mean? What does that mean?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Pathetic, man. Pathetic.
Like I would jerk him off
He's
to
not
hang out with him for 3
He's
minutes.
not black enough because he doesn't do the dubstep.
Yeah.
He's no,
what I mean?
no Skrillex, but
Yeah, fucking rubbish.
No, I would jerk him off to hang out with him for 2 minutes. That's for goddamn sure. I mean, he's no Ryan Reynolds. I would jerk off Idris Elba, but like Ryan Reynolds, I would let penetrate me. Like that's where the two draw for me.
Okay.
You're doing too much now.
No, like we talked about Ryan Reynolds is. Oh my god, I love that man
I
so
know,
much.
I
I
know
don't even
you.
know him.
I know you love the Canadians. That's the thing. Yeah. I get it.
Dear.
All right, guys.
Hopefully he's watching this. And he'll come over to make it happen for
He
you.
can come
Hopefully.
over, come on, whatever the fuck he wants to come is fine with me.
Oh my
I
god.
mean,
This was
dear.
so
Just to see that look on your face.
yeah. So this was fun, guys. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on.
This is-
We're over our normal 2
by
hour
a lot.
limit and didn't even
Yeah.
realize it. And this was fun, honestly.
Yeah, we
You
So-
guys are nuts, man, and I love that.
You guys, you need what's the word? What's the word I'm searching for? What am I searching for?
Amazing.
God,
Sectioned.
Niche.
Sectioned.
We call it niched over here. We're a very niche audience.
Committed. That's what you need.
Committed,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey man, like if you guys don't
Damn,
mind hanging out for
you
just a
guys are
second
crazy.
after we end up, so we can chat with you guys offline for just a second. After we
Sounds
wrap
good
up.
to me.
Yeah.
But man, we've guys
Yeah,
have had a fucking blast.
Yes.
We hope you guys will come back on again in the future. And
Hopefully as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You guys are crazy, man.
all right,
Yeah,
well,
you two ain't right. You two need Jesus. You need
So
Jesus.
that's what people tell
Or
us.
you need a fresh slap. One of the
all right, guys, thank you so much. All right.
All right.
Take
Till
care.
next time.
Catch
I'm
you on
trying
the
to think.
other side.
We have Easy on with us next week
Yep.
in studio with us. It's we got him to say cunt last time, and that was the first black person Steven ever heard say the word cunt.
It was fantastic.
So bless your heart. Yeah. So we look for next week. We'll have there we go. Second person. So we'll have Easy on with us next week, and until next week.
You ain't right.
Until next week.
You're charged, didn't you? You're charged.
Bye. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.